How are you doing today?
I'm doing well now.
Why is that?
Couple of reasons. So one, yesterday was really like mentally and emotionally draining for me. So I woke up this morning and was like, do stuff? Absolutely not. So today was a mental health day for me, and I laid in bed until like 10:30. And it was also great because Campbell got me the most wonderful Christmas gift this year, or I guess last year, technically speaking, which was a cooking class to learn how to make actual, real life Italian pasta. And that was really fun. So that was at 5. Yeah, that was like a couple hours ago. So I learned how to make fettuccine and ravioli. And the fettuccine was actually prepared with a like red sauce, which I have never had fettuccine with a red sauce. So I've always seen it with like an Alfredo type sauce. So that was really cool. And it was just really fun because I like have never made, I was going to say obviously, but maybe it's not obvious. Like I've never made pasta from scratch before, which like I know that it's like technically easy, like it's just egg and flour, but it was just really cool to actually like be with like an Italian chef and like have him like showing us like step by step how to do it and like all the like tips and tricks. And he showed us how to like fold the fettuccine like over our knife and like shake it out to like, it was just really fun and really cool.
It was really funny because I also like, had groceries delivered like that she would need for the cooking class, and she texted me later like after the groceries came. It was like, hey, I like noticed the ingredients list doesn't say pasta. And I'm like, yeah, you're making it.
Correct.
That's the class, Raven. So that was fun. I enjoyed that. Yeah, well, I'm glad you had a good mental health day then.
Yeah,
and this is a good way to end it.
This is a fantastic way to end it because I just got a little bit of pasta left. I got my wine, I got my notes, and I have one of my best friends. Okay, so, listeners, today, we will be... Oh,
hey, Raven,
correct.
What music
Campbell.
Well, first and foremost, hey, Campbell, how are you doing?
I asked you.
You didn't ask. You didn't really get into it.
Oh, well, that's on you. You didn't answer the question.
No, you went off on, like, your thing. You, like, it's been, like, 4 minutes.
Yeah, but I said, Campbell, how are you doing? And you said, fine, how are you doing? And I gave an answer. So.
I thought you would just like to hear about it more. That's fine. I'll take the L on this one.
I do. Yep, Campbell, how was your day?
Yeah, pretty good.
Your boyfriend's there. How's he doing?
Great. No complaints. What music have you been listening to recently?
So, I lately have been obsessed with the Encanto soundtrack.
Let's talk about Bruno.
The Encanto soundtrack. So I watched a couple of like music analysis like breakdowns of a couple of the songs and like the actual music theory behind they work, and it's just Lin-Manuel Miranda continues to show time and again how he has more talent in his little finger than a lot of people, including myself, do in their entire body. And it's
a different kind of talent, Raven.
It's a different kind of talent. I respect that. But
you're just as talented as he is at being Raven.
Okay. Well, he is. I feel like he's a really cool, almost like cross of Stephen Sondheim and Howard Ashman, but with his own, just like experience and like talent in the mix. And I don't know, I just really love his work. So Encanto I'm obsessed with, and the music is fantastic, and I thought my favorite song was Surface Pressure, but now I think it's What Else Can I Do, and it's just all of them are great. They're just all great. Yeah,
What Else I Can Do is a great song. They're all great songs.
They're all great songs.
Listeners,
what about you?
You will be hearing about that movie on this podcast at some point.
Absolutely.
I've watched it so many times. For me, I've been listening to a lot more like new hard rock kind of stuff. Some like bands I've been listening to for like a long time, like Coheed and Cambria and stuff like that. But more recent music and, bands like that.
Yeah.
Kind of listening in the morning, hype you up, really cool instrumental, metal adjacent music, but with some pop punk or just punk angst. That's been my vibe recently, and I've been really into it.
I see that for you.
Thanks. As I say, wearing tie-dye.
I'm about to say, I see you're back in tie-dye.
Always am, baby. Also got googly eyes for my Crocs.
I don't know why, but at first I thought that syllable was going to end in crotch. And I was really confused.
Hey, not eyes down here.
Just confused.
We like to have fun here.
So listeners,
pulling thread.
Today we will be talking about Mamma Mia, because it ends in
Mamma Mia.
Point. Mamma Mia.
You cooked Italian food today.
Italian. I did cook Italian food today from scratch.
The stars have aligned, but not fully. Yes, we are talking about Mamma Mia today. Wait a second. Shut up.
Well, I guess
don't think about it.
I guess
Mediterranean.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
I know exactly your thought.
Okay.
Shut up. Shut up. Stop talking.
Okay.
Stars somewhat aligned. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have a guest today, but schedule conflicts, things happen. But we do want to give a shout out to Erin. We love you. We'll be getting drunk in your honor. And we do apologize for what we're about to say about this movie. It feels like we're saying it behind your back now. But I just want to let you know, we would be saying this. We would have said
it to your face.
Yeah, right to your face. And if that makes you feel bad, that's on you. So, here we are.
Yeah. So, Mamma Mia is we were specifically talking about the film, the 2008 film, directed by Felida, I think that's how you pronounce her name, Lloyd, and written by Katherine Johnson. And this is based on the 1999 musical of the same name, which, interestingly enough, the 1999 musical, it is still in the top 10 longest running productions on both Broadway and the West End as of November 2021. And again, it came out in 1999 as when it premiered on Broadway. So incredibly popular musical, which is largely part of the reason it was adapted into a movie. And the interesting thing, we'll be talking about them a little more later, but the film production was actually co-produced by two of the members from the band ABBA.
Yeah, with Mamma Mia being a jukebox musical.
A jukebox
with the music
musical
of ABBA.
rom-com. Yeah, with the music of ABBA, which is interesting because...
rom, in the mind of a psychopath, like however you want to call it, Mamma Mia.
It's just like... It's interesting because ABBA started in like 1974, and I'm not going to go into them too much right now, but actually, sorry, 1972 was when they started. And I had thought originally when I first heard of Mamma Mia, and I told Campbell this, I thought that either Mamma Mia was like super old or ABBA was super recent, because to me, I knew the band ABBA wrote all the songs for Mamma Mia. And so I just assumed that they wrote the songs for the film, because at the point that I learned this, I had never seen the movie. But no, they wrote the songs like 20 years prior. And then in the 90s, someone was just like, let's make a musical with some of these, because why not? Everyone loves them, so they'll love a musical with all of their music. And that did prove to be partially true. I do, however, think that this is very much a junk food sort of musical.
Okay, Raven, that is the perfect way to describe this, and you know why? Because plot...
It's good in all the worst ways.
Yes, it's like when you get high, if that's legal for you to do, or not, whatever, live your truth.
Live your life.
And you're like, do you know what I could use right now? 2 things of Domino's cheese bread.
Ooh, do you get the jalapeno?
Well, that one also has bacon in it, so I don't.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, but I get the spinach feta one.
Love, yes.
And so it's just, I mean, I love ABBA's music. I thought this was really fun. Sophie, played by Amanda Seyfried, villainous is the only word I could describe her, is villainous. She is a villain. She's not an antagonist. She is a villain in this movie. But you can tell all these actors are having so much fun singing these songs. So you're just like in a good mood.
Campbell, I don't know if you felt this way, but when I was watching this movie, it reminded me, I think, of your comment on Cats, I believe it was, where at very few points in the movie did I, one, even remember the characters' names, let alone think of the actors as their characters. Like, every time, I would literally have to stop myself from writing, oh, Meryl Streep does this, or Amanda Seyfried does this.
It was like, Into the Woods.
Into the
James
Woods.
Corden is just singing songs from Into the Woods.
Just singing songs from Into the Woods.
He's not the baby.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt in this musical. Like, it was hard for me to see them as their actual characters. Interesting. I don't know if that was just me.
There's some people I didn't see that for, but that's an interesting take.
Yeah.
Shout out to
I would say it was only a few of them.
Christine Baranski.
Oh my gosh.
Also, just another fun thing. Yeah, this is like, I'm sure you're going to talk more about ABBA later, but something I really appreciated in a lot of the musical arrangements, they did feature traditionally Greek instruments.
Yes.
In the arrangements really, really of these, which I appreciate. I like Greek music. Richmond's Greek Festival is so much fun. I would go every year.
I should do that.
But with that,
let's jump into it.
I was going to say we should talk about what we're drinking.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that because I forgot that we haven't...
You have forgotten everything we do. What's going on with you? You're drunk on pasta.
I don't know what's happening to me tonight. Campbell, what are we drinking?
Well, we don't have a name for it yet. Let's figure it out. But I thought it would be fun in the theme of this movie and the vibe, I think, of some of, like, you know, these women and stuff like that. Especially if I was vacationing here, I have come up with a sangria recipe with some Greek influences. So, it's a white wine-based one, so if you have comments about that, don't at me. Or follow us at Boozicals, at BOOZICALS on Instagram. Email us at boozicals@gmail.com. I may or may not read the email if it's negative. So it's white wine base and has lemons, limes, grapefruit, fresh mint, peach schnapps for some like sweetness, and Metaxa, which is a Greek like spirit, and it comes from a combination of muscat wines from the island of Samos, aged wine distillates, and like botanicals that are like Mediterranean, and put all that stuff together in a pitcher. It only needs to like incubate, which is a weird word to describe sangria. It needs to vibe for, you know, at least like a few hours, and we have what we're drinking right now. So we're going to cheers, and then we're going to come up with a name for it.
Love it. Cheers. I love this so much.
I do too. It's a really good sangria, and we also added soda water, you know, for fun, for some pizzazz.
Yeah. I actually like the addition of the soda water because, like, while you can drink it by itself, I think adding the soda water makes it to me a little more like, it makes it a little lighter, a little crisper, a little more refreshing than just like sangria.
So let's workshop some names. I had one idea so far called Not Your Daddy's Sangria. Daddy spelled DADDIES apostrophe.
Love it.
So it's like plural.
I think that is fantastic.
What you got?
Not Your Daddy's Sangria. See, I was thinking something along the lines of like, not necessarily this literally, but something along the lines like, it's all Greek to me. Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
What about something about like Donna and the Dynamos?
Campbell. Yes.
What can we do with
what
that?
song they sang? Super Trooper.
I mean, it could be Not Your Dynamos Sangria.
I like that.
I don't know if I like that more than Not Your Daddy's, though.
I think Not Your Daddy's makes more sense.
But I like Donna and the Dynamos. Should we flip a coin?
Yes.
Cool. I have a really good coin. from not. Shut up! You're so mean to me.
It just seems like such an arbitrary thing.
But I do. I've shown you this coin. It was part of the merch club for Not Another D&D podcast. Shout out to NADPod.
Yeah.
And when I flip it, it makes a very satisfying sound. So we'll do. There's a skull, and then a fairy. I would say skull would be Daddies. Fairy will be Dynamos.
Dynamos. Love it.
Skulls it is. Not your daddy sangria.
Not your daddy sangria. Cool. Love it.
Another cheers.
Cheers. Hi everyone, this is Raven and Campbell from Musicals, and we'd like to talk to you today about a nonprofit music education group that we are partnering with.
Yep, we'd like to talk to you about Education Through Music. They partner with under-resourced schools to provide music as a core subject for all children. And they utilize music education as a catalyst to improve academic achievement, motivation for school, and self-confidence.
Exactly. So they work with 52 different partner schools throughout New York City, and they work with them to institute sustainable music education programs by hiring qualified teachers, matching them with the school, and really equipping the teachers with the tools to succeed and be able to provide quality music education to all of the students attending that institution. So we think, from this podcast, we think it's incredibly important to provide music education to all children, that everyone should have access to it to help, really instill those lifelong passions that have been so influential for Campbell and I. So we believe that supporting this organization is the way you can support our podcast.
Yep, and you can do so by going to give.etmonline.org/boozicles. Again, that's give.etmonline.org/boozicles. And yeah, you can really help these kids if that's what you're into.
Support the youths.
Okay. Shut up. Don't patronize me. Okay.
I don't need you.
Enjoy the episode. I'm done with this. Taps and T-fathers.
Wild. Okay. So on that note,
Gonna start off, Mamma Mia, same font as Nirvana, the band.
Oh, interesting. I'm not
privy to that.
I know of Nirvana, and that is about the extent of my knowledge of them. I think
it's called
I've heard
Onyx.
Like I love cat. That's the name of my cat.
Oh, man.
Fantastic font name.
Love it. This is great. I love the Sangria so much.
So we come upon a young Sophia. Well, not young, but like young. A young Sophia looking out over the bay,
I thought
ocean,
it was current
sea.
Sophie.
I just meant as in she is young.
Oh, okay. Also, she's played by Amanda Seyfried, who we've done a lot of stuff with her. She's Cosette, older Cosette, in Les Mis. She's Karen Smith in Mean Girls, meteorologist extraordinaire. She's also been in The Dropout, Big Love. Something I really love about her is her range. Not just vocally, but like the environments she has acted in, I don't think could be more different.
Yeah, I feel like every movie she does is completely different. And like her actual vocal range in this movie is also completely different than it was in Les Mis.
Which was
and both of them I think like both of them are very, very good vocal performances in my opinion. Yeah.
Continue.
I always think she has like a very unique like vibrato quality to her voice. Which I don't know. Some people don't like it, but I always think it's nice.
It's very like vibrato in the sense of like skipping a stone across a lake.
Yeah, it's like a
it's
trill or a tremor-ish.
Tremor like is a good way to put it, because I feel like trill would be more like songbirdish.
Correct. I
which
agree.
I'm sure she can do, but that kind of like natural singing voice that she's done in a lot of things, there's like a slightly more weight to it.
Yes.
Like what's the I was about to say something math related. Peak to peak sine wave period.
Yes.
Yeah, so instead of it being like pi over 2, it will be pi. Which means nothing to the majority of our listeners. But that's That's where I'm at. I have my candidacy exam this week.
The few that will get
it
will understand.
Reviewing a lot of science and math in general. So
amazing. Okay, yeah. So we start off with a prelude of "I Have a Dream," sung by Sophia as she overlooks the bay, and we see her sending a small pack of letters out to the mail, and we see that she sent them to one of three men, or each of three men, who
Sam Carmichael, Bill Anderson, Harry Bright.
Yes, who will later learn are the three men who could potentially be her father, and she doesn't know which one it is.
Her mom
bucks.
Get it.
Or at least could 20 years ago.
I really like this song, and I really appreciated that it's being sung at an hour of the day, the early morn, where, everyone's kind of resting, nothing really going on, and that's where I feel like I've been more contemplative, and it's just, expanded by, this particular song. I thought it's a clear kind of environment that's being given from this kind of intro.
No, I agree. Like, something that I really enjoy is, like, waking up early, like waking up at, like, 6 or 6:30 or something.
I was going to say, like, waking up at, like, 3.
Oh, well, 6 is like before sunrise. I just meant before sunrise. Like waking up before sunrise, but just like laying in bed, and like as the sun slowly comes up and like light starts to fill the room, just like thinking about like your day and like how you're feeling and like
just checking in,
just like reflecting. Yeah. Like some people do like a devotion then. Like it's just like a great time of day to be reflective.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but the music in this song, there's like a musical sequence during this scene when we see like all of them getting ready to like travel to this wedding or try and like find their way to the wedding. It's so much
fun.
It's so fun.
I was getting so into it.
Yeah. And something about the music kind of reminded me a little bit of Legend of Zelda, and I don't know why. It was so random.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I have random like musical connections in my mind, many of which probably aren't valid. But
also something I was going to point out, I've never seen this movie before, so this is like my first like thoughts go at it. And wild.
This is my second time watching it because I think like randomly like 3 years ago, I was like, what's Mamma Mia? What's the fuss about?
What's this about?
So I just sat down and watched it one day, and I was like, this is what it is.
Okay. And I love ABBA's music. So during this like musical sequence, like I wrote down, I love the music. Oh my God. Especially when there was the Gimme Gimme like playing in the background. I was just vibing on the couch, taking my notes. And it's just so funny that I assume it's like, weeks go by because we learn that Sophie is getting married, and we are introduced to her two best friends. Lisa and Allie, played by Rachel McDowell and Ashley Lilly, and they are so cute together. What I really like about this movie, I think one of its strengths is they do a really good job showing great friendships.
I think they do a really great job of showing just like interpersonal relationships in general.
Yeah.
Because there's such a variety of friendships that you see. I do love the fact that you see Sophie and her two friends juxtaposed against her mother and her two friends, and how you see like age don't mean a thing. Like the second they get there, it's literally like they're teenagers again.
Raven. I mean, this is going to be us when we're much older. But also, you've seen me with, like, my high school friends. And that vibe, that energy,
what an experience.
that chaos is never going away. So, I'm looking forward to the future.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool when you see people that are... just people that are, like, further on in life. And, like, you see how, like, the friendships can like mature, and there's a point that you get to where it's like yeah, we're adults now. We have our own lives, but that doesn't mean that we don't still love each other and will be there for each other and stuff like that. And I love that when you do get back together, it's like no time has passed, you know? I think those are always the most special relationships that you can have. They
just have such a fun handshake vibe.
Yes.
I love it. They're these friends that you maybe don't see for months, maybe even years. Mm-hmm. But when you see each other, there's no time that has passed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's real special. And I hope all you listeners have people like that in your life. And if you don't, you will.
Yeah. So Sophie tells her friends like that she sent out letters that she invited her dad to the wedding.
Villain.
And they're like, oh, so you found out who it is? And she's like, no, here's the thing. My mom fucked 3 guys that summer, so I invited all 3 of them.
No, here's the thing. I spied, went through, violated my mother's privacy.
Mother's diary.
Yeah. Lied to everyone involved for, a weird plan that probably won't work. But isn't that funny? No. This is life-changing news that could just completely throw people's lives. You're building up people's hopes, dreams. You may show them a bad side. Maybe this won't go well for you. Maybe they don't want you in their life. She was like, oh, maybe this could be fun. Maybe this could be cool. I'm quirky. Bleh. No, Sophie, you're a villain. And that's what I think about the plot of this movie. That you are taking people's hearts, emotions, decades of longing, and not even considering them for your own benefit.
Yeah, because her mother in these diary entries... Oh, yeah, so we get into the song Honey Honey, which is where she's such literally a good song. Reading. Such a good song, but she's reading her diary entries and talking about the 3 different lovers and stuff. And, you can tell from, what her mother was writing about these 3 men that, she had, especially for Sam, she had real feelings for them. This was, these were real people who had real, romantic and sexual entanglements and stuff like that. And it's just, especially later in the movie, the night of her bachelorette party, when all 3 of them were just like, oh my God, I want it to be me. And you're just like, oh, and, no.
how disrespectful to your mother.
Right?
Who has been your entire life.
I'm imagining, raising a child and then 20 years having that child,
and they they find your Hinge or Tinder chats and emails them. Raven, imagine if it were.
I will never emotionally recover from this.
That you have a child, you're at a place where maybe you're single for whatever reason, and your child's getting married, and then they invite to your wedding these names that I'm messaging you.
Yikes.
Each of them individually, but all together. You look stressed with just
the idea of that. Just the thought. And again, you see that on her mother's face. We're skipping around a little bit, but you see that on her mother's face when she first sees that they're there. And you're just this poor woman, because in her mind they just randomly showed up at her hotel.
So mom,
the song Honey Honey,
her mom Donna was super in love with this guy Sam Carmichael,
Sam
is played by Pierce Brosnan. Also, I mean, he's James Bond. I don't come on. He was also in Quest for Camelot. He was in Mrs. Doubtfire, The Sun, a lot of cool stuff. Super in love with him. He leaves because he's engaged to someone. He has to go married. She's heartbroken.
Which is...
fucked up.
Yes.
That her daughter's exploiting.
Here's the thing. I understand that to an extent, you can't control who you develop. I mean, you can control how you respond to a person.
I thought you were about to say you can control like feelings and stuff like that. And I was like,
oh no,
I was about to say, Raven, we've moved backwards in progress for this whole empathy thing for you.
Like you can't truly control who you develop feelings for, but there is a level of responsibility that you should take when you are already committed to someone. And to me, part of that responsibility, like whether you are already engaged, like whether you're already married or just engaged to be married, to me, part of that responsibility is like, you can control the way you behave around someone and the types of activities that you engage in that could lead to developing feelings for them. No. And to me, it's like, yeah, like the whole situation with, again, I almost called her Amanda. The whole situation with Sophie is like, that's fucked up. But like, Sam, to me, is like, that's completely disrespectful for you. And yes, he ended up breaking off the engagement. So like, I guess good on him. But like, that's so disrespectful for you to have an entire other relationship in a different country with a random woman while you're engaged.
No. Yeah, it's not like you could even like texted her. That's
yeah.
This takes place in the 90s,
to me,
right?
the movie doesn't. I think so. Like because the play came out in like 1999, so I would assume it's theoretically set then. But
which makes sense with the amount of overalls we see.
So many overalls.
I would say all of them. Over all of them. Thank you. I'll be here all night.
Oh my gosh.
Check,
but
please.
Like I don't know, I think it mostly bothers me because to me the movie doesn't inherently paint Sam in like a bad light. Like the movie still wants Sam and Donna to get together at the end.
Yeah.
And they like, and it's just like, no, he did a terrible thing, but I don't know. Maybe he's grown in the past 20 years.
So anyway, she's heartbroken, and then she hangs out with a couple more guys. Harry,
yes,
who's played by Colin Firth. Oh, what a cutie!
The King's Speech, which I also recently watched, which is also a fantastic film.
Who he also plays Harry in that. Harry Hart, Galahad. Bridget Jones. He's Mr. Darcy.
Yep.
Colin Firth is just adorable.
Correct.
He's just a cutie patootie.
I think Colin Firth is one of those guys that like he's truly like handsome. Like I don't like to me Colin Firth is like I can't look at him and be like, oh, he's hot, but like he just looks wholesome and handsome and just like you just seem like a joy.
I saw a TikTok, like it was some interviews and stuff, and someone like I think Andrew Garfield was reading a tweet or some comment or something like that, and it's just like, yeah, I'm just having very complicated feelings about him. It was something along the lines like, he's just so cute and wholesome, but I want to bed him. And he was just like, he's like, I don't. It's like, he's not, like, attractive, but he's cute, and I'm attracted to... Something like that.
So then he's attractive.
Yeah, and he was just like, I don't really know how to respond to this, but thanks. I view that similarly.
Fair.
And then the last guy...
Bill.
Played by Stellan Skarsgård.
Stellan Skarsgård. Randomly.
Good Will Hunting, Dune, Chernobyl... Bootstrap Bill in Pirates of the Caribbean. He was in Thor. Look at you.
Was he just in Thor Dark World, or was he also in the first? No, he was in the first.
He was in the first one.
They found him. Yeah. He went crazy in Thor Dark World. That's what happened.
Hell yeah, dude. Live your truth.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so we find out that her mother... I'm trying to figure out, like... They don't specify what the summer timeline was between
the diary
each of these men.
The diary was July 17th. Is when it started. Met Bill August 4th and Harry August 11th.
Okay,
so actually, you are wrong.
Rude. I'm just trying my best.
What are you doing right now? My best.
Oh my god.
At least you're not having a struggling mental health day, because that would be extra rude, right, Raven?
Well, I'm doing better now.
I got better.
So she's talking to her friends and she's like, yeah, so she was with all these guys like in the summer and like she found out she was pregnant like afterwards, so like we don't technically know which one it is, but you know, she believes that she will know her father when she sees him, which is a bunch of bull hockey I don't know why she thought that. Like I can understand,
you know how
she was
similar
like, oh,
men that age look.
Also,
what if your mom had a type? How would you... That would make it even harder.
And also, like, I could see it if it was like, oh, like, maybe she didn't look like her mom. So she was like, oh, like, maybe it'll be the one that looks more like me. But, like, I don't know if they did this with, like, if this was movie magic or if they just look like Amanda Seyfried and Meryl Streep look like identical in this movie. Like, they literally look like mother and daughter.
I think they look
in this
similar.
Movie.
But yeah. I would also say, and not to take away the fact that, I mean, she's about to get married. She's always dreamed of, like, her dad would walk her down the aisle, never knew who he was, and, like, her longing for, you know, that male role model and, you know, it's seemingly your other half of your identity, history, things like that. And that kind of yearning and idealizing and dreaming, oh yes, of course, this is what's been missing from my life. Of course, I'm meant to just see it when it happens. Not to take away from that, but are you serious, girl? Is this your plan?
It does also, and like, I was lucky enough to grow up with both of my parents in my life. So, like, I don't know what it's like to have only grown up with one parent and not, like, physically not know who your other parent is. So I can't really speak on that. But it does seem dismissive to me that she doesn't even consider asking her mother to walk her down the aisle and give her away until literally the end of the movie. That really
bothered me. And it just seemed like the tone of her voice when she's telling people the plan and stuff like that, it seemed very frivolous.
Yes, it's very it's
coy,
self-centered in the most technical sense of the, like, most literal sense of the word. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's her big
day. And
who cares about her fiance, who I originally thought was her brother? I can't be the only person.
He's a character.
I was just like, oh, this is her brother? Or I, like, had to ask my boyfriend, I was like, is that the fiance or her brother? Because, like, it can go either way at this point.
Well, with the beach scene, I feel like that solidified it.
Oh, no, I mean, immediately after when he introduced himself, that did. But when he, like, saw her friends and stuff like that, I was like, it could be either.
It could be either. That's true.
But yeah, they, so make it back up home.
They make it there.
We're introduced to her mother, Donna, played by none other than
Meryl Streep.
Great. A lot of she wasn't the only person considered for this role, and I've read a lot, like, different articles and stuff. There's a lot of criticism because she's, like, such a high-profile actor, and they're like, in a nutshell, what are you doing in this movie?
That's what I was going to ask you.
I will say, seeing her in this movie, I got the vibe very much of, have you seen Wet Hot American Summer?
No, but I'm generally familiar with it.
Another example. Amy Poehler in Tenacious D in The Pick of Destiny.
Oh, yeah.
She's having fun. Why do we gotta question it?
That's fair.
It looks like she has... That's, like, one of the saving graces of, like, this movie is that all the people in it just look like they're having the time of your life. Nice, Campbell, solid. You're so good at this. But
amazing.
They just look like they're having so much fun that it doesn't matter.
Well, because the entire movie, to me, this is less of a movie than, like, a visual album. Because let's be real, there's a story here technically, but it's driven entirely by the songs because they, like, wrote the story to fit the songs, and yet the songs still don't quite fit the story, which is, we're going to talk about that.
No, that's like from Justin to Kelly. Like, they had an album. They have a set of music. We have to promote this. We said we were going to do a musical. This is their contracts. We'll fit it. And their timeless love. And listeners, if you're thinking, man, they really talk about From Justin and Kelly a lot. It has ruined my life. I have come back around to hating it again. I was loving it. I'm at hate right now. I talk about it at least once a week since we watched that movie. Shannon, you've ruined me. Anyway. Donna. And Donna's, they're like fair. Talking about, chatting with the girls. They're like, oh, you've gotten so grown. And Donna looking great in her overalls. Oh, also Meryl Streep. You know what she's in. Calm down. And she's in everything, yeah. She was like, yeah, I used to have fun. Yeah, you can get it still, Donna.
Yep. It does feel weird to be like, I don't know, like I've never been a single mother. I assume it's a lot of work. I've heard that it is. But like, I don't know, like Donna, like take some time for yourself. Like, because I feel like when her friends show up and they're all talking, like she makes a comment or something at some point that like indicates like, maybe she'd be thinking about getting back out there. And I'm just like, Donna, girl, live your life. Be your best self. Like,
have you looked in the mirror? Have you seen your vibe with your like casual hair just falling where it does, unbothered, wearing your
amazing
overalls? Vibing just like to yourself. It's like when you have your own like breeze and air around you that's infectious. Like, flaunt it.
Yeah. Okay, but so today is the day before the wedding. And we also see her friends. We also see Donna's friends come
on the boat. Yeah,
on a boat.
Oh my god! And okay, so her friends.
Who are her friends, Campbell?
The two best characters in this movie. First, we have Dame Julie Walters playing Rosie, who in this movie is like an accomplished, cook, chef, author. She has like a really popular like cookbooks out. She's been in Billy Elliot. She's won a Laurence Olivier Award for All My Sons. But she's also Molly fucking Weasley.
Yup. Which I wrote in all caps as soon as I saw her.
Yeah, incredible. And then we have, honestly, one of my favorite actresses of all time.
Amazing.
We have Christine Baranski playing Tanya.
Who we've talked about so many times because she's amazing and so talented.
She's fucking Mary Sunshine. Chicago. Amazing. If you didn't, listeners, if you didn't know who the character Mary Sunshine is, you have failed us. Because I assume if you're listening, now that you have listened, you have now become friends with Raven and I expect better from my friends. How dare you? Into the Woods, great stepmother.
Oh, yes.
The only person I would believe is a stepmother to / mother of Lucy Punch, evil stepsister. Like, that combo, iconic. The Good Fight, The Good Wife, Big Bang Theory, like, Christine Baranski, if you're listening.
Enough said.
We think about you so much and just how great you are. Not in, like, a creepy, obsessive way, hopefully. But sure? I just hope every day you get the accolades and, the words of affirmation, your flowers from the people in your life, because you deserve it.
She does indeed.
Same with you, Julie Walters. And I guess Meryl Streep. Like, what a powerhouse of a friend group.
Right? Like, this is like, they really did a full like ensemble cast for this, and
they're so they're so fun. Talk about stealing the show. These two, Rosie and Tanya.
Oh yeah.
They're living their own lives. Like the events of the movie are happening, but they're doing them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we go back to
Sophie is so messy.
Her fiance. She's so messy. So she's talking to her fiance. What is his name?
Oh, but also like a Sky. But the dads, coincidentally, they missed the last. They missed the last boat, But
so Bill
is like has his own boat, and he's like, "Oh, I'll give you all a ride." So they're all going to be riding together. And Sky, I was like, Sky, is he brother or fiance? Oh, he's also played by Dominic Cooper, who in like the Marvel movies and a lot of Marvel stuff, he's Howard Stark.
Interesting.
Yeah, and he was also Milton Green in My Week with Marilyn. So that's fun.
Huh. All right. But yeah, so we find out that he didn't really want a wedding. He wanted to like go to the courthouse and just like
the dream,
avoid all of this like
and then just have a party.
Stuff.
That's my dream.
But yeah, so he's because she's talking about like, oh yeah, like I invited my dad to the wedding, like blah blah blah, like I'm gonna be my dad and all this other stuff, and he's like, is that why you wanted to have a wedding? Because like your dad, like not because of us and like celebrating our love.
She does not.
And she's just like, no.
And she still doesn't tell him that it's like 3 people coming. He does not know her plan. Which, honestly, that, like, really bums me out. Because he does seem like a solid guy. Yeah, he wanted a more low-key, just about them, travel the world afterwards, live their lives together kind of deal.
Yeah.
But it's, like, made clear he has no idea what's going on. Which just seemed unfair.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, it's her dad, it's her business. But it's to the extent that you are dictating what other people... You're dictating what other people are doing for your own, like, personal journey. And happiness. Yes. So it's like, it is all about you. It's your business. You don't have to share that with anyone. But if you're tying other people into that, you're making it other people's business. So it would be thoughtful and right if you let those people know.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I mean, if you don't, you're a villain. Sophie, like, and I think, the new Joker.
I can understand Sophie's motivations because, like, she explains it as she is getting ready to marry Scott and, like, you know, start this new life and everything, and she feels like she doesn't quite know herself entirely yet. Like, she feels like she needs to find out who her father is, like, meet her father to feel complete in a way.
Yeah,
and I'm
sympathetic to that.
I can understand that motivation, but to me it's like, if this is the person that you are spending your life with and you are building a life with this person, then you should, like, tell them that. Yeah. You can tell them, like, hey, I want, like, this is my journey and, like, this is something that I kind of want to lead or handle on my own.
And learn about myself.
Like, yeah, but, like, tell them. Like, don't just straight up lie to your husband, especially the day before your wedding.
Because, listeners, a lie of omission is still a lie.
It's still a lie.
And, like, I do understand. I am sympathetic, too. She doesn't feel like she truly knows herself. And some people are truly fortunate, and I'm very happy for them. If, like, from a young age, they just know who they are. Like, this is me. They may, like, go, like, different, like, peaks and valleys, you know, in, like, in your life and things like that. But truly having a concept of your identity is something I have not personally experienced myself. I feel like I've finally gotten to that point. But in these, like, huge milestones, if you're not there and feel like something's missing, that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Totally fine.
But you are putting other people's journeys, emotional, potentially trauma, and just, like, lives to the side for that goal. I don't think people need to find themselves at the expense of others. And that's what she does in this movie.
Agreed, and that is what she's
Which is, doing. Like, so, such a serious take on such a stupid movie. Like,
they did this to themselves.
Like, Raven, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Again, Erin, we would say this to your face.
Correct. So
he something she also says though, when she was like, everything will fall into place. I wrote down, I don't think she wants to marry him. Was something I was convinced about. At first, it seemed like, oh, I don't know who my dad is. I, like, need to figure this out so I know who I truly am so I can get married. Made me think that she had some reservations about being married. Was my thought. That's incorrect. to like what Sophie says later to her mom, but that's something I thought from watching this for the first time. I was like, I don't think you want to marry your brother.
No, I agree. Like, I felt the same way when I was like, I don't know if this is a great idea for the two of you, and not necessarily because of their age. Like, I know a lot of people
because she's 20.
Like, getting yeah, they're 20. And I know a lot of people harp on like getting married young, and like I don't see an inherent issue with getting married young if you feel ready and like you love your partner, like blah blah blah. But it's just like especially at the beginning of this movie, I in no way felt that she was quote unquote ready to be entering into marriage with this individual. Yeah. So we go back to the hotel and like the moms and everything. And the friends reunite. The friends are there
for one night only.
Well, 2 nights.
Donna and the Dynamos. They say one night.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
Raven, Raven, it's a quote. I'm quoting the movie. That's what that was. Okay, in case you didn't know. That's what that was.
But I thought they didn't say that until the bachelorette party.
No. They're saying it here as well. It's a bit. It's a bit that they're doing. In case, okay. Wait, go on. You're good.
I hate you. So, they're talking about the hotel, and, they're talking about the hotel and like all the different things, and like, oh, like Donna, like, you know, you got to get back out there, you got to have fun. Like, we used to be super fun, like blah blah blah. And Donna's like, do you see the shit that I have to deal with around this place? And we get into the song Money, Money, Money,
which is so fun because we also learn more about Tanya and Rosie. And like Tanya's like, I just finished like husband number 3. The dynamite, sleep all day, fuck all night is what they're basically saying. And we learned that Rosie is like, I'm more of a lone wolf, in parentheses, subtext, gay? I was like...
But like also not, because she goes after Stellan Skarsgård hard at the end of the movie.
If he changes his mind, take a chance on her. Which is my favorite. I think that's my favorite moment in the movie, when she whispers, take a chance on me. Because that's my favorite ABBA song. And she was just like, hey...
We'll talk about when we get there.
It's bad and aggressive and predatory, but I think it's just like the thought of "Take a Chance on Me," which is a song that you like belt, you like play off of those harmonies. Yeah. That's a song that's open to runs and like expression. To just like very quietly, subtly at the dinner table, be like, "Hey, if you change your mind." Wink.
I'm first in line.
Take a chance on me.
Take a chance on me.
It's just really funny, and we learn this is Aphrodite Spa is the name of that is kind of thinking the history of the hotel and stuff like that. Why people are attracted to it, like more of a tourist spot. Sky wants to create a website to increase tourism and learning more about, how the hotel is doing. The toilet just doesn't work.
Nope.
She's been running the hotel for 15 years, and then money. And just, like, talking about Donna's life, like, running this hotel. It needs to be, like, renovated. It needs so many repairs. And there's a lot that needs to be done that she's been doing on her own. That the root of it is, like, money. Yeah. Yeah. But she has 2 rich friends that offer to help her.
Yeah, but the thing that bothers me about it, I first noticed it in this song, but it bothers me throughout the movie. There is no lead-in to most of the songs in this musical. Like I feel like this. There was, I forget where I wrote this.
You think films should have transitions?
There was a point during this movie where I wrote down, I think this movie is part of the reason a lot of our generation hates musicals. And I mean that because...
Raven.
I mean that because, so like, okay...
Funny. That's Raven.
If you think about
hilarious.
like my issue with the music in this in this movie, because it wasn't written for the movie, the songs are in this weird, like, uncanny valley of, like, fitting the story. Like, it's like they fit well enough. Like you get the idea that they're going for, but, like, some of the lyrics, you're just like, well, that doesn't make sense.
It's like if you take...
It's like a constant break in immersion.
It's like if you take some puzzles made by, like, the same company, they use the same kind of, like, stamp to make the pieces. Where, like, you can, like, say 90% is, like, the original puzzle, and then you find another puzzle by the same company, and the rest of the spaces, like, randomly, you just... So, like, a horse looks like it has train wheels.
Yes. Anyway.
Money. I think it's so funny that they're thinking about lavish lives and stuff like them, and Donna's like, it's like she's imagining her life if she just, like, didn't have a care in the world, and Donna's, like, acting is like, if this could only be my life. You're Meryl Streep, this is your life. But it's just so funny that she looks stunning in the whole Titanic moment.
Oh, yeah.
When she's on, like, the bow of the ship, and then her friends are just, like, comically behind, like, doing shit. And I was like, this is, like, a fun vibe, because you're like, being very glamorous, but it's still very slapstick and campy.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And,
I was like, OMG, this needs to be my life on that boat.
Fair. And I do think it's interesting how there are some scenes like with money, that are, like, really over stylized, like, intentionally to bring that sort of, like, fantasy idea in. But it feels random sometimes, but, like, I feel like they should have chosen one or the other. Like, there are some scenes where, like, the music is embedded in the scene and, like, very realistic, well, theoretically realistic. And there's some scenes where it's, like, a super, like, completely in the mind fantasy. No. And it feels weird. But the music is always enjoyable because it's ABBA.
And the acting is great because they're having fun with it. So you're enjoying it.
Yeah, so it's like you're having fun, but it's like, but does this work? And I don't know if it does. But, like, I'm listening and I'm dancing. Yeah. So.
And then you see the hotel straight up falling apart. Like, the ground starts breaking, which, like, just
did they have an earthquake? Because they didn't address it really.
There's some structural issues to this hotel.
For sure.
And they're just so nonchalant about it.
Yep. Yeah, it's weird. So then the dads arrive.
Yeah, and they're like, well, they also say a fun line. It was like, I guess we're drinking before 11, which is a fun, like, with, like, our friends, a certain friend group of ours, that we're like, spend the night at someone's apartments, like, visiting people and stuff. We always have a rule, like, we have to wait till at least, like, 9 or 10 before we start drinking again. So, like, good on them for wearing an extra hour. That's, like, good, nice.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the dads arrive, and my question is, so y'all don't think any of this is weird? Like, you randomly get a letter from a girl that you had a summer fling with 20 years ago, and you're like, okay, sure, I'll go to this random remote island in Greece to, like, talk to her. Okay. You meet 2 other guys that are going to the same place. You don't know why, but at no point do they indicate that they need to go to a different location, especially for Bill, because Bill is the one sailing them there. And so I feel like at some point, Bill would have had to ask, like, hey, where should I drop you off? Like, where am I taking you? Like, where do you need to go?
Well, when they were on the boat, they all know that they're going to the same wedding.
Yeah, I'm aware. But, like, I feel like it doesn't feel like they address the fact that, like, this is weird, right? And when they get there and they meet Sophie and she's like, oh yeah, like, I'm her daughter, but she doesn't know that you're here. But, like, they were supposedly invited by the mom, like, by Donna in the letter. Because she said that she addressed the letter from her mom.
I'll explain it.
Okay.
So we have 3 very different characters.
Correct.
We have Bill, adventurer. This seems like a fun adventure. This seems like vibe. Let's pursue it. We see Michael. I'm in love with her, and I've regretted this for the rest of my life. Carmichael, Sam.
Okay, gotcha.
I've regretted this for the rest of my life. I don't care. Tunnel vision. And then we have
Harry's the one that doesn't make sense.
And then we have Harry, an anxious gay man.
Why does that feel like enough said?
That's all the words I have to say about it. Spoiler! He's gay.
I have known at this point multiple anxious gay men in my life, and it somehow works.
Is Campbell homophobic? Maybe.
Maybe
that's not true. Internalized homophobia is no joke, and correct. All you mask for mask guys, think about that. That should be you.
Indeed.
Learn to love yourself in all parts of you. But yeah, so I was about to say Amanda, Sophie,
right?
They're like, okay, yeah, I can take you to your room, and they go through the legends of the Hidden Temple, go past Olmec. The Blue Barracuda is the best group. Shout out Yasmin. And they end up in the goat house in an attic with some sleeping bags and be like, this is where you'll be. You good? And
at this point, they're like, this seems not correct.
Yeah, just
but then
hiding
they just
them
go
away.
with it.
Because she had an idea, but she didn't follow through on the details of it.
She did no planning and preparation for this.
No. She wrote a letter.
She literally sent the letters and said, "Well, it's in the universe's hands now."
It was just she was like, "I feel good about this."
She was happy with the decision she made, and I took that personally.
Yeah. And oh my god. And during this, we do see Donna's friends talking to her and be like, "Hey, but seriously, what's going on with you? Are your needs being taken care of? Are you fucking?"
And Donna says, "I don't even miss that part of my life. Can't relate."
Okay, Raven, we get it. You're horny constantly. Don't my eyes look so good today?
Always, Campbell. Your eyes are beautiful. You know this.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So, there's some stuff going on. Donna is hearing some stuff in the goat house, and it was just wait a second, and kind of looks up, peeks in, and she sees the 3 suitors and how they were, and they're just a bunch of punks and hippies.
I think it's interesting and a little weird when you see them do the 20-year look back and see what they looked like to her 20 years ago, and it's just oh, that's what you were into. Okay, Donna.
Pretty great. And then we get into
but also it always feels weird. I always think it's funny when movies and TV shows do this thing where they show a 30-year-old actor, or in some cases older, but a 30-year-old actor
as a teenager,
as their character would have looked as a teenager, and it's just I see what you're going for.
The best version of it is in How I Met Your Mother with Marshall, where they're when I was in high school, I was in a barbershop quartet, and just have actual teenagers, and then you have him just as himself, just with longer
just
hair,
as himself.
And wearing a short sleeve shirt under a long sleeve shirt under a short sleeve shirt.
Yeah,
great,
wild. I always think it's awkward when they do it with girls and they just put them in pigtails, and it's this feels weird.
I don't feel right about this.
I don't feel right about this. Okay, yeah. So of course Donna finds them immediately.
Yeah, and then we get into the titular song, "Mamma Mia."
Yeah.
Which, my first note, oh no, feelings. This is really fun, and it's just here I go again, Mamma Mia, here I go again, my, how could I forget? It's just thinking about you're put back into a situation that is emotionally complicated, and it's real
and one
fun.
that you thought was long over.
Yes, and also fun little tidbit thing. You see a poster of Donna and the Dynamos, and the bar they were playing at was Fernando's, which is a ABBA song.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was fun. And yeah, been brokenhearted since I let you go. But like my biggest problem with her dancing on that roof, it looks like she's CGI when she's laying down on the roof.
Doesn't it a little bit?
Also, are the other people around ghosts?
What do you mean?
There's
like the villagers?
Yes, the townsfolk. And when she's like, oh, it gets like, they're like below, she doesn't see them. And they're like, what's this mysterious wind? There's like people that's in the movie that's causing it. Are these ghosts?
Well, see, okay, so this is actually, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but this is actually something I actually really liked about this movie. To me, the townspeople make up a literal Greek chorus.
Raven, I love you so fucking much. That is...
So for anyone who's not aware, in like old, like ancient Greek like plays and in ancient Greek plays and tragedies, like plays like by Socrates and stuff like that, there was always like a Greek chorus, which was usually meant to represent, again, just like the common people that weren't the main characters, and they would like deliver exposition or just like a perspective on what's happening in the story, or just additional like dialogue and like flavor to the story. And to me, that's what the townspeople are here, where like you see their reactions to the story, but they're sort of tangential, and to me they're almost like a stand-in for the audience.
Yeah,
especially because they're real shady. Like a lot of them like they are straight up giving her like Sophia side eye for like half the movie.
Yeah, and
they're always just like, what are y'all doing?
There's a lot of them, but just to like run through the list and like call them out, because they're so great. They're so funny. So we have Ricardo Montes that plays Stavros. We have Mia Santerio that plays Irina. Enzo Squillian Jr. that plays Grigoris. Dominic Cooper. Oh, we have Sky. Pepper comes in later. I'll talk about him. Chris Jarvis is Eddie. George Giorgio is Dimitri. Maria Lopiano is Ion. Juan Pablo de Pach is Petros. Nomura Atala is Irini. Mira McFadden is Elena. Leona Hill is Ariana. Jane Fufas is Elpida. Yeah, that's the Greek chorus. Raven, that is so astute of you. Well done. You know what?
Thank you.
You're the tops, and I don't say that often.
You don't. Well, you say it to me a lot. That's like the third time you said it to me.
But like in the entire friendship, that's not a lot of times.
That's true. How long have we been friends? What year is it? 2022? We met in 2014? Yeah, we met my freshman year. Wild. It's been 6 years. That's crazy.
No, it's been 8 years.
What?
14 what? Plus 8 is 22.
Oh, yes.
But here's your chance to redeem yourself. What's 9 plus 10?
21.
You stupid.
Love this. I love us.
Well, it's halftime, sports fans. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, it's Campbell from Boost Coles. I'd like to tell you all about Mr. Holland's Opus Foundation. This foundation keeps music alive in schools by providing vital support services to school districts and new musical instruments to underfunded music programs nationwide, giving underrepresented youth access to the many benefits of music education, leading them to success in school, and inspiring creativity and expression through playing music. There have been over 34,000 donated instruments and over 2 million students impacted by this organization. Some of the support services they offer are professional development for music teachers led by certified instrument repair technicians, and further community engagement and instrument drives, just to name a few. Again, Raven and I believe the best way to support us as a podcast is to support organizations like Mr. Holland's Opus Foundation that supports music education and the passion of music in our youth. You can donate at mhopus.org/donate. Again, that's mhopus.org/donate. Back to our nonsense. Cheers.
Cheers. So then, yeah, she's dancing on top of the boathouse. She falls in. I don't love the imagery of the three of them looking down on her on a mattress, but you know what? It happened.
And she was like, what are you doing here? And they're like, yeah. They were told by Sophie not to say who invited them. or like
yes,
anything that's going on. And they were like, yeah, this one Greek lady said we could stay here. And she's like, you can't. Also, what are you even doing here? And Harry's like, I'm spontaneous.
Which, like, Harry,
hell yeah,
sweetheart.
Dude.
No, you're not.
Yes, you are. Hell yeah, dude.
Harry is so adorable. I love him.
Anchor's away. It's good to see you. Let's leave.
Yeah. So then Donna's like, okay, well, this is weird and I am uncomfortable, so I'm going to leave now. Do they tell her that they're going to be at the wedding?
I don't think at this point, but she leaves, confides, she's like, leaves. It's like, you know,
and then goes talk to her girlfriend.
Very traumatic, like 3 loves of her life that could be, you know, her daughter's father
of her
coincidentally child. Like coming here all together at once. It's such a mindfuck and emotional attack that like her daughter like never sees, which like this is people's villain origin stories. You know?
This is how she became the witch in Into the Woods.
This is how she became the witch into the woods. And this is how Cosette lost a mother.
Damn.
That's bad. That's bad, Campbell. But then we see like Tanya at the bar. They're like getting drinks, and we introduce to Pepper, the bartender, Philip Michael, who's been in Fair City, He's a multi-world champion martial artist in Taekwondo. And Shinikido, and a belt holder in full contact kickboxing. I saw that and I had to call it out.
Interesting.
But also Pepper is like one of the like bigger side characters. Philip Michael, also he's super attractive, so
he's so hot.
And so like he's trying to get with Tanya, and I wrote down, at least Tanya isn't a cougar. Oh, Gamble.
She straight up blows him on the beach.
No, but she doesn't.
I disagree. We can continue.
I think that's like the expectation that he was like. We'll get to a sex on the beach.
So Donna runs away and runs into a room and like locks herself in there. And Tanya and Rosie are like, "Hey, girl, what's going on?
How are you doing?"
And they start like very awkwardly singing through the door. Okay, I was like, what song is this? Chiquitita. I literally wrote down, what song is this?
Rosie like rolls her eyes, and like also Tanya is fully standing on Rosie while she's in the bathroom, and they're like such good friends. And they're just like super sweet and like trying to, hype their girl up. They'd like, this is like not something they like haven't really seen before, where like you have your friends down. It's like, you know what? We know what we need to do. And they start singing to her. And it's so funny because Rosie's just like, just like kind of like singing to you. And then Tanya's just like, I'm performing. Which I think does so well to like each of their characters. It
makes a lot of sense.
One's like really like down to earth and just be like, yeah, here's just how it is. I'm just like living myself, living my truth, just like vibing, just like being me. And then Tanya's just extra. And I love it in every sense. I was like, good on you for flexing those pipes.
Like, Christine Baranski just always brings everything to a role, and it's beautiful and fantastic.
Yeah, and this is like it's such it's sweet with just enough slapstick. This song, where they're just teenage girls again trying to cheer up their friend and like sing to her, dance, make her fool, dress up, just trying to lift her up.
Yeah, and so we're like in the room and they're all talking about like. Or she's talking about, like, oh, my God, like, this is what happened, like, blah, blah, like, what do I do? And, like, I'm just, like, freaking out.
They're about to give her drugs, and then they take them themselves, and she, like, seems rich. Yeah. She's like, I thought the pill was for me. I was like, this is weird.
That was weird.
I was just like, she has a pill, and then she's expected to, like, her friend to put it in her mouth for her. She, like... Mm-hmm. It's this weird kind of, like, begging expectation to be fed, which I was very uncomfortable by.
But also, it did seem like they were bringing out the drugs to give to her, and then just took them themselves, and then didn't give her any,
which is just really funny. And Rosie, or I forget Rosie or Tanya, I forget who. I think it's Rosie that takes it and is just like, nope, this is for me.
Yep.
I was like, good, you know who you are.
And so then they're like, come on, girl, like we used to party, we used to have fun, like blah blah blah, and we get into the song "Dancing Queen."
Yeah, well, I mean, at first she like tells them what's going on.
Yeah, I said that.
I mean, but like they're saying like, you know, the details like, oh, they're at the old ghost house. It was like, remember Sam, the architect, Harry Headbanger. They're like, let's go see, and they like go to the goat house and see no one's there. Which is funny because then you see Sophie and her friends hiding in the goat house. They were about to go up, but then they're hiding from them. I was just like, this just seems like a lot of work. And aren't you getting married tomorrow? Like, this is like, this is what your attention's going to?
We've established that they still need to. We've established that they still need to finish the bridesmaids' dresses. And I'm just like, I feel like there are more important things, and decorating the hotel. I'm just like, I just feel like there are more important things for you to be dedicating your time to.
Also, fixing the giant crack in the ground,
which they just aren't concerned by.
Do you think at this point in the movie that it's like the day before the wedding? Do you think Donna has been was waiting for Sophie to like ask her to walk her down the aisle, or has thought about it, or like what do you think? Because there's like, oh yeah, we're having a more traditional wedding, so we think about traditional wedding things. Like, I mean, some things do come to mind. Do you think Donna thinks about that?
I think probably, because she seemed surprised when Sophie asked her, but not the type of surprise that's like shock of like, oh my god, like I never even considered that, but more the type of like, oh, I didn't think you would ask me, you know. So I think probably like I think yeah, that makes sense that she would want that for, because like, she's been her daughter's only parent her entire life, and as far as she knows, yes, Sophie has probably been curious about her father, but she had no clue that Sophie would go to the lengths of like inviting 3 random men that could potentially be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think probably, and I think it was probably like a really pleasant surprise when she asked her.
Do you think, okay, I have some notes right after, and can you help me make sense of it? I say, some hideous trick of fate, cool with it, in quotes, this would be a bombshell, don't you sound like your mother, Catholic guilt. Do they does it look like they're leaving and Sophie convinces them to stay first? Is that what that is?
No. That is when she's telling her friends about the situation, and she's talking about, like, because she says, and she's freaking out about all of this, she's like, oh, I basically got myself in this situation by being a slut, is what she calls herself. Oh,
gotcha. And she's talking about Donna's talking about her
like, you
mother.
Sound just like your mother. Yeah,
which is so okay. Mother. That's what I bring up, because it's so funny. Because immediately after, we were like set to record this like a certain day, that didn't work out. A lot of scheduling conflicts, and then immediately afterwards, I mean, after Raven and I finished our pitchers of Sangria and like, I don't know, other substances were involved, I did eventually watch Mamma Mia 2, which I was heavily under the influence, but Donna's mom...
Don't you meet her mother?
Yes, is played by Cher.
Who's
only a few years older than Meryl Streep, but now that and I knew that fact beforehand, I think it's like, now you just sound like your mother, and like describing like, you know, Donna's mom like not accepting her and stuff like that. I was just like, Cher would never. Was the thought
that
I had.
That is true. Cher would never.
Yeah. But Dancing Queen, let's fucking party, girl.
Yeah, so Dancing Queen, like, this is cool. So like, yeah, so they're
great song. Great song.
Getting all hyped. They're just like, oh yeah, you remember back when we were in our 20s and we used to go fucking hard in the club, and
when Fireball did make us want to vomit.
I love Fireball. Speak for yourself. But yeah, like I don't know. This scene has a lot of energy, which like it has to. It's Dancing.
And this
Queen,
song is
you know
like so powerful.
Yeah. And yeah, so they're all dancing. They're like, oh yeah, like remember when we used to have fun, get back out there. And then all like going through the streets, like all the women of like the town and stuff like that are
they're like, oh,
dropping
are we
their
jamming?
shit and joining in. They're like, oh, are we doing this? Let's fucking
like,
do this.
It's like, fuck the patriarchy. We're like, let's fucking go.
And it's just like a citywide party, and I love that for them.
I know, it was so much fun. And then Donna's like, fuck you, Tanya, fuck you, Rosie, and just like
shoves them in the lake.
This is Sparta, which is fun because they're in Greece, into the water. And they have a swim party. And then, at this point, Sophie's like, don't leave, and swims to their boat. The dad's boats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
to like convince them to stay. And then you see like Harry took like the mom's guitar. He's like, actually, this is my guitar. Taking something back.
Yeah.
And we get to the song Our Last Summer. Which...
Yeah, so I think this is actually really sweet because, like, they end up basically spending, like, half the day together, and she gets to actually talk to each one of them about their individual relationship with her mother, and they show her pictures that they had of them, and she's, like, learn about each of the three of them as individuals, which I think is just really, really sweet, because something that confused me at first was, like, okay, so you're inviting... Three strangers. Here's the thing that always confused me. You were inviting 3 men, only one of which is your father. Like, any of them could be. But
what's
only
the
one of
plan
them
for the fallout?
Yes, because in her mind, so let's think about this from Sophie's perspective. Sophie at the beginning of the movie says that she believes that, for better or worse, she believes she will know her father when she sees him. So she invites all 3 men with the belief that once they get there and she interacts with them and gets to know them, she will know who her father is. So one, what are you going to do with the other 2 men after that?
Raven, that's not a problem.
Especially after
Raven, it's her big day. It's not her problem. We live in a society. I think she's the Joker.
And then also, here's the thing. So we can talk about the tradition of a father giving away the bride as like archaic and patriarchal and misogynistic. That's its own thing. That's a whole other discussion.
Of women. The roots of marriage being in, ownership of women.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
That's not the point right now. The point I want to make is that in theory, regardless of how you feel about the nature of the tradition, for a lot of young women, the importance of that tradition is in the fact that ostensibly or hopefully you have had a positive relationship with your father. He's been a huge influence on you growing up, and now like you're getting married, and it's like even if you're your own woman, like living independently as just out in the world and stuff like that, independent of your parents, it's still a heartfelt moment to have your father give you away. But it's heartfelt because he's your father. Like, you've grown up with him and he's been a major influence on your life, and now like he will now no longer be the primary man in your life. That will now be your husband. But like, here's my thing. You don't know this man, Sophie.
I'm sorry to this man. Baby, that's Keke Palmer.
Did you really expect to meet him on Thursday and have him give you away on Friday and have that
literally, it's the day before her wedding.
It's literally the day before.
That's like that was Raven. It's like, you're like, did she think that's her exact plan?
That's her exact plan.
That's like,
though.
No further thought. Like, that's it. Summed up. That's all the details of it.
No further thought required.
No.
Yeah,
I rest my case. But this is a sweet song. Like, we learn, like,
this is a really sweet
how
song.
the different men like met Donna and their experience. Like, Harry, they met in Paris, and they he left like to go to Greece with her. And it's just really sweet spending time with each of them. They like all brought like pictures of them, their old selves, which is real fun. And they're like, hey, I promise to be at your wedding. They have formed a relationship with the bride, the person who actually invited them. They're like, hey, for some reason, they're like, you know what? I'll do this for you, person that has lied to me and lured me to an island, analogous to a siren's call, and tricked me, emotionally, possibly hurt me, put me in a vulnerable place. But you know what? I'm already here. Disrupted my life. I might as well go to a wedding for you, stranger, who I've spent 6 hours with.
And
very easygoing guys. I see how they're good for Donna.
I want to clarify, because I don't think, at this point in the movie, I don't think she's told them one of you is my father yet.
Nope.
She is not. Yes,
that's
correct.
The hen night.
So, yes. So, here's my thing. Each of these 3 men, okay, you've been, again, let's frame this, right? So 20 years ago, you had a approximately month-long, maybe a couple weeks long, summer fling with a girl that you met on an island in Greece. Cool. You live your life. 20 years later, you get a random invitation to a wedding from said woman, set back also in Greece. And you're like, okay, for whatever reason, different people have their different reasons. For whatever reason, you're like, you know what, fine, let's go do this. Maybe we can get closure, maybe we can reunite, whatever. We go. You get there, a totally random girl who is like, oh yeah, Donna's my mother and she told me about you. So I reached out to you. Don't tell her that I invited you.
But also, this is my wedding.
Here. You're going to sleep in the goat house, but also this is my wedding.
Together.
This is my wedding. I'm the daughter of the woman. I'm 20 years old. I'm the daughter of the woman you slept with.
They don't know her age.
But look at her. They
don't know. Raven.
Okay, but here's my...
They're preoccupied.
Okay, but legitimately... Though,
maybe they don't want to, reduce women down to their age, Raven.
Campbell,
I know you hate women, but, maybe they're like, hey...
Campbell.
It's not about her.
Campbell.
Yeah.
You had a fling with a woman 20 years ago. Yeah. A young woman who admits to being this woman's daughter... Who, you don't know her exact age, but she's about 20. She's in her 20s.
Men are stupid. What do you want me to say, Raven?
Donna didn't have a kid when you met her, so, this girl's at least 18, right?
I don't know why you're yelling at me.
Anyway, none of them think this is weird. They're all just talking about, yeah, this was my relationship with your mother. You don't know what, it doesn't occur to any of them, hey, who's your dad? We're where's he?
To quote maybe one of the worst movies of all time, Master of Disguise, who's your daddy?
Oh my gosh.
So now at this point, she gets back to the beach and she sees Sky. The men will promise to be at the wedding. And we learn that it's the stag night and hen night. So bachelorette parties, basically. And she sees Sky, and
stag do and a hen do, I think is what they call them. In Europeans, at least British people do. I don't know.
Well, they're American/Greek, so let's talk about that. And we get to the song "Lay All Your Love on Me," where we see Sky.
It just red flags the song, but that's.
I mean, I think that's they're trying to be really sweet with this. They're just we're solid, but the song doesn't exactly fit that message. So
yeah, well, because the song wasn't written for the story.
Yes, and so oh my god, so they're going to have sex on the beach, and then Sky gets kidnapped by throngs of men who are campy and flamboyant. What do you think of the choreography of this song, Raven?
I'll be completely honest. When I first watched the movie, I hated the song and the scene. It was my least favorite song in the movie. Watching it this time, I liked it a lot more. But I almost intentionally / unintentionally didn't watch the scene. Like,
what were you doing?
Like, I was listening to the song.
I take
and
this
like,
seriously, Raven, and I would really appreciate it if you did too. Because we put a lot of work and effort into this podcast, and I would like you to respect my time.
Shut the fuck up. So I was watching it, and it got to this song, and I was like, oh yeah, like this song, like, oh, I actually like this a lot more. And then I just kind of started, like, I got past the first verse. When he was like, I wasn't jealous before we met. Now every guy that I see is a potential threat, which, like, dang, red flag. And, like, I used to say this movie as well. Like, I got past the first verse, and I was just like, okay, this is good. I'm enjoying this. I'm vibing. And then I don't know what happened. I just looked away for the entire rest of the song.
I think Dominic Cooper does a good job in the song.
Until it got to the bit of all of them, like, T-posing on the dock.
They're in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. They're just...
At which point I wrote, what a bunch of absolute chads. And that was my last note for the song.
That's perfect. Then all of a sudden I was like, oh, they kidnapped him, and now they're just like, you know... flip-flopping down the pier, then all of a sudden Sky has a jet ski?
That's something that confused me. So, like,
how much time has passed?
They came up in like a rowboat, but then they were all flying around on jet skis. It's like, one, where did the jet skis come from? Two, didn't you come here on a boat? Like, what happened to the boat? Look,
I wrote down, where did he get that? Anyway, then we like see the hen night. And the girls are having way more fun. They're Ladies No Gentlemen, the world's first girl power band, Donna and the Dynamos. And honestly, Raven, I don't think like the power and the awe that is exuded by these women, I haven't seen a movie recently that has matched that.
That's fair. That's fair.
So the hen night seems fun. So we get into Super Trooper. And I really like how it's not great at first.
It's not.
They're just like...
But then it gets good.
Yeah, then it gets really good when the background music comes.
I like that because it feels more like... It feels a little realistic in that it feels like
more
when
organic.
You go to a karaoke night and, like, there's a couple of people up there and they're just, like, really going at it. But, like, it's still, like, at first it's still karaoke. But then, like, maybe the song or maybe just the energy of the bar, like, it gets really hype. And you're like, oh, yeah, no, we're here for this. Like, this is actually really good now. But, like, it's still karaoke, you know?
Raven, what's your go-to karaoke song?
I've only done karaoke once, but when I did it, I did Say My Name, and I crushed it.
Of course you did. But what's your ideal karaoke song? Like, that was your first experience. Just like, oh, let me do something maybe I'm more familiar with, something like that. But, like, the concept of karaoke, what do you think is the song that would be like, I'm doing this?
Honestly, I think Greatest Love of All by Whitney Houston.
Raven, you are an icon. That's all I have to say.
And I low-key feel like I would crush it.
No, I know you would.
What about you?
1985 by Bowling for Soup.
That is correct. You've said that before. You would similarly crush it.
Jenny just hit the wall, which is I would start it better than that, but it's just I got it.
Super Trooper. I really like this song. It's just fun.
I love my favorite part of this song is when they're doing the choreo, like, Donna sees the three men there, and they do, like, different choreos. She, like, swings her friends around one by one to, like, show them what's going on very subtly, is my favorite moment of the scene. Like, all the women are, like, going crazy because they're doing great and they look fantastic. And they just be like, hey, here are the guys. I'm letting my gals, like, know, like, the situation. Yeah. Help me. And they're just like, we got it. We got it. And we got it. We're here for you.
And once again, like, everyone's just having fun. Like, you can just tell they're having fun up there and, like, the party. And, like, I love how they do kind of use the moment to, like, connect with, like, for, like, Donna and Sophie to like connect a little bit, and it's just, I don't know, it's just all around cute and fun.
And with like all the faults I have for this movie, of which there are many, like that like undercurrent of like everyone's just having a fun time like really grounds me. It makes me have a fun time because it's palpable. So yeah, we get to gimme 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 parentheses a band after midnight. And so they, like, see the men here, and Rosie is like, hen party, women only, like, get the fuck away from my friend.
Yeah.
And they, like, won't leave, or they're doing their own thing. And then all their characters' names are hens.
Yep.
Assault these men.
I literally wrote down, I'm pretty sure this is multiple forms of assault.
This is assault.
And
I was just like... They're
like fully like groping these men.
Yeah. Sam, this is real good. Oh, no, that was something else. I thought it was about this situation. Some of them sneak away. Like, Sam sneaks away and, like, finds Sophie and is, like, talking. And they, like, talk about... Because they, like, were sketching, drawing together. And he, like, hey, this is really good. You should, like, pursue this. But they're assaulting them. Sorry, my thoughts going back and forth.
Yeah, I got you.
My thoughts are very pendulous.
Love that.
Same. Actually, I don't. It plagues me. But I think it's really funny, like, gimme, 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 a man after midnight. In the context of what they're physically doing and tying men down into trees and stuff like that. Makes it so much worse.
Oh, yes.
Rosie's like, women only. And the women are like, okay, but, like, we want
to fuck.
These men, these zaddies they will be our captives. I would consider them captives in this situation.
Correct, they're prisoners of war.
So Sam's like talking to Sophie and she's like,
yeah, the movie.
It's like, oh, you're really good at this drawing and stuff. It's like, you could, like, pursue this. And it's like, oh, what's your dream? Is this what you want to do? And she was like, no, we're going to run the hotel with my mom because she can't do it on her own. She thinks so little of her mother.
Yeah, but also, okay, I didn't perceive that way because her mother has recently expressed frustrations with the operations and logistics of running the hotel. You know what I mean? I didn't perceive it as, my mom was incompetent. I perceived it as, like, she's been doing this for 15 years and she doesn't want to do it forever.
I do feel like it's a savior complex thing that she's got going on.
Oh, that's fair. Especially with the whole, like, I'm going to find my own father because you couldn't.
Villain.
Also, like, I know it's the 90s, but, like, DNA tests exist.
Yeah, but, like, Sophie's like, what am I doing here? And then we like, go back to, like, you know, the Dynamos together, and Tanya's like, get me out of these boots. And then, like, Rosie and Tanya's like, hey, we're gonna, like, take them out, we're gonna separate them, we're gonna interrogate, we're going to, like, figure out this mess, and, like, try to figure out, like, why they're here, like, you know, maybe, like, who's the father, like, you know, they're your daughter, your life is getting married. We will take care of this. This is just a distraction. This is not what this is for, is what everyone else thinks. Spoiler, this is exactly what this is for.
Exactly what this is for.
And they were like, hey, we got this. You got more important things to worry about. Like, you know, we got it. We trust us. Great friends. Great friends.
Fantastic.
And then Harry's, like, running away. And then, like, Sophie, like, does admit, like, I don't know who my father is. And talking to Sam's like, yeah, my great aunt Sophia left, like, my mom, like, the hotel and stuff like that. And it's just like, wait, this woman Sophia, who I'm named after, and it's Sam's great aunt Sophia, is like, left money to Donna? How old are you?
No. I thought that was Bill's.
No. Oh, is it Bill's?
It's Bill's great aunt, because he was like, I just heard it was left to family, and that's when he looks at her.
I'm confused.
And he's like,
I'm as confused as Donna in this situation.
Because then my next note is leave it to Bill to be the only one to even think to ask her age.
Yeah.
Because then he looks at her and he's like, how old are you? And she's like,
20 years old.
Yeah.
And then
he's
she's
like, wait a
and Sophie's
second.
just like, "Are you my dad?" And he was like, "Yes, I am."
Very presumptive.
Very, very.
There are two other men here.
And he was like, "Can I give you away?" And she was like, "Yes, yes, yes." And then we see the men, the stags, storming the Capitol. Never forget.
Which, okay, a quick question for European / specifically British people. Why stags and hens? Those are different species.
Raven, that is a great question that I've never even considered.
Like, stags and does, okay. Or, like, hens and roosters, I guess? I don't know if there's another species. I know, like, for example, cow. The terms cow and bull refer both to bovine creatures and to elephants. Like, a female elephant is also a cow and a male elephant is a bull. But, like, I don't know if the term hen refers to any other species besides chickens.
Okay. So, this is a question posed on mychocolate.co.uk.
Don't like that. Okay.
Why is a hen party called a hen party and a stag do a stag do?
Yeah, stag do. That's what they call it.
Do they? They do.
Brits are weird. I don't know.
She do. Okay. So here's what the fuck? This is... A common misconception is that the terms hen and stag both originate from simple social stereotypes. In fact, it's more likely that the word hen hasn't always meant female chicken. In Middle English, hen could mean the female of any bird, and so a hen party was a party exclusively for ladies. Similarly, but going back even further, is the stag party, and you've guessed it, originally stag could mean the male of any animal, not just a male deer, and so a stag party is one exclusively for gents.
Interesting.
So It turns out hens parties are in creation of modern society. They actually go pretty far back. So where did the terms... apparently go back to the Tudor times. Just imagine how busy Henry VIII must have been with invites is something they write, which is terrible.
Do they mean because he got married 6 times? He murdered like half of his wives.
What? This article is wild. Also, why is it called My Chocolate?
Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. He only murdered 2 of his wives.
Yeah, I don't know why you said 6.
I said half.
You look so dumb.
Shut up.
I knew it was 3.
Oh my gosh.
The men are starting... Voulez-vous. Everyone is pairing up. Sam is just like, how long have you known? Puts the pieces together. He's just like, wait, how long have you known that I'm your father?
And she's like, oh, yikes, y'all are figuring it out now.
And then, like, Harry does too. And I write, Sophie, no. She has told all these men that they can walk her down the aisle.
Yep. And I wrote down, now she's got 3 drunk dads. What more could a girl wish for? I also said, way to not take responsibility for the situation you created.
And then, like, what's everyone drinking? BF says. And, like, everyone's just losing their minds. The ground shouldn't be pulsating.
Okay, but can we talk about what a fucking bop this song is?
Oh, Voulez-vous is, like, great.
I really want to know how long this, like, scene / like, sequence, I guess, within the film, because the movie goes directly from Super Trooper to Gimme 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 to Voulez-vous, like, back to back to back. And, I'm sure this was filmed, like, probably over multiple... Yeah, like, I'm sure this was filmed probably over multiple days, if not maybe a couple weeks or something. I don't.
But they had
to. Film schedules work, but
they like filmed it like in Greek. Like they had to get the the different like the sunlight. There's times like it's like the sun's setting. We have to do it at this time right now. Like
yeah, and like this song in particular, Voulez-vous, to me is just like. This is a full party, and like there's so much energy, and like the entire crowd is like dancing, and it's just like I really like this is probably one of my favorite like at least musical scenes in the movie, just from like the energy of it. Yeah. I just really love this scene.
Yeah, it's infectious. I do like the energy of this song. And then you see that Sophie's overwhelmed and she faints, and she deed. She doesn't die. But we do learn that, like, Donna and Sophie are the same person. Like, they are way too similar for anyone's good. And then we see the next day that... Oh, yeah, Sophie and Donna get in a fight because... well, there's other stuff that happens first. Yeah. First, Rosie is like, oh, I'm going to go, like, take Harry out or Bill or someone out. And, like, you know, figure out this whole mess. And, like, Harry and Bill are talking and be like... Hey, yeah, like, I have, like, a secret I haven't really told anyone here, and Bill's like, say no more.
But this, yeah. And this is really funny.
It's really funny, because Bill, like, in his mind, is just like, you're gay. And then, like, the audience is led to believe that's not what Harry's talking about, but, like, that is what Harry's talking about.
See, I was under the impression that one of them was talking about Harry being gay. The other one was talking about
I'm Sophie's father.
About them being Sophie's father, and it almost doesn't matter which one. Be gay. Yeah, it almost doesn't matter which one is which because it's just funny either way. I think it's almost funnier if Bill is talking about Harry being gay and Harry's talking about him being Sophie's father.
No, but that's what I thought it was.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So then Rosie like pops in, and then you see Donna and Sophie, like, you know, hungover or whatever, and Donna's like, tell me what's wrong. What's going on with you? There's something going on. And she's, like, saying, like, she's not sure about a lot of things, and, like, Donna's, like, being a supportive mom, be like, hey, there's still time. Like, if you're having doubts, you don't have to get married. You can
because wait. Donna still doesn't know that Sophie even knows that these men are here, let alone what her potential relationship to one of them could be. She doesn't know
that her daughter is perpetrating the most emotionally complicated moment of her life. Yeah, it's not... I wouldn't consider it a hate crime. I would consider it more as a... unintentional, for whatever reason, emotional war zone.
Facts. So in Donna's mind, she's like, hey, she's trying to help her daughter. So she's like, hey, you're obviously in some form of distress. Like, I want to talk about it. Like, if this is related to, like, you know, you getting married, which, like, in her mind, obviously, because it's the day of the wedding. So, like, if you're nervous, if you're worried, like, it's okay. Like, if you want to take a step back, if you want to pause, if you want to call the whole thing off, like, that's okay. Like, that's fine. I'm here for you. And Sophie's just like, no, Mom, you're so stupid.
she sucks. But Amanda Seyfried did, like, really good job, like, acting as her. And she was like, no, wait, do you think I shouldn't get married to Sky? And she was like, wait, no, I thought that's what you were talking. Like, I felt really bad for Donna. It was just like, this is like what everything's alluding to.
She's just trying to be a supportive mom.
Yeah, exactly. She's doing her best as a single mother. Ugh, fuck you. I keep on saying, I want to say, like, fuck you, Amanda, but that's not what I mean. Sophie keeps on just like, I just don't want my children not knowing who their dad is. Subtext. Which, you dumb slut.
It's bad. Which was just pisses an unnecessary jab at Donna.
Yeah.
Because...
You're the one that brought them here.
Yeah.
You're the one that invaded your mother's privacy.
Because my thing is, like... And again, like, I've never experienced growing up with only one parent or not knowing, like, who one of your parents is. So I can't imagine, like, I don't truly know what that experience must be like. But at the same time, people have lives. People make choices. Like, things happen in people's lives. And Donna, you know, she had an experience. And, like, yeah, she was living her life. Like, she was a young girl. She was, like, she fell in love. It didn't work out. And then she was like, you know what? I'm young. I'm going to live my best life. She happened to get pregnant. That sometimes happens when you have sex. And so she was like, you know what? I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to be a boss-ass bitch. I'm going to take care of this hotel. I'm going to raise my daughter by myself. And she did it. And she's awesome. And now she's being vilified by her daughter for not having grown up, like, with her father. And it's just like, but that's not the point. Like, the point is that your mother has loved you and taken care of you your entire life.
My problem with Sophie is it's very clear. She was like, I'm an adult. I'm old enough to get married. But she's not grown enough to see her mother as a person. and not just her mother.
Or to even conceptualize the way her actions are affecting other people. Because it's not even
it's not her problem.
Sky is also like,
it will be the perfect fix. Everything's going to work out because this is a genius plan
that she's put zero thought into.
She's dumb as shit. So,
and like Sky, here's my thing. Sky doesn't even want the wedding. So this is purely for Sophie. Like all of this.
Which everyone in her life is just doing, is trying to support her the best way they can and doing everything she says, and she's going behind everyone's back for an ulterior motives. Like, you're putting so much work into this, but you know what? I'm not going to let you in what this is actually about. And to a point, and making you in like a horrible situation, and how dare you make that about you? How dare you be in an uncomfortable position that I put you in and feel bad about it while you're still trying to support me and not knowing what I'm truly going through because I won't tell you.
Yep. You know what, Campbell? At the beginning of this episode, I didn't disagree with you when you said that Sophie was the villain, but I wasn't quite there yet. Yeah. But you know what? I'm there. She's the villain.
She's the villain of this movie. I didn't think this movie
had a villain, but the villain is Sophie.
Because there's like a lot of musicals we've like done, and we're like, oh, she's not the villain. She's the antagonist. Like, it's unfair standard. She is the villain.
Sophie's fully the villain.
She's the villain. The next Disney villain is
She makes only bad decisions until the very end of the movie.
Yeah. So I think
she's sort of like Cusco.
Couscous is what you were trying to say.
It's what I almost said.
Couscous. Of couscous. And with that, we will be getting another drink. My glasses. Cheers.
Cheers.
So, at this point,
SOS.
we see
Donna.
We see Donna seeing Sam. Saying, oh, I see you kept my bagpipes. Trying to help Donna understand that, like, Sophie's just kind of like, what's the word?
A bitch?
No. No. It's like, I had a good word for it, and I forgot it, because I've been drinking, and I'm not good with words, which is great for a podcast where we drink a lot. But it's like it's on the tip of my tongue. It's like she attaches herself. It's like, what's the word for the, like, attachment for astronauts in space?
Tether?
She tethers herself to the hotel where that might not be her dream. She's trying to... Sam is trying to explain to Donna that Sophie is tethering herself to Donna's life. Raven,
yes, like
I love you. Thank you for helping me in my moment of weakness. It's few and far between, but thank you regardless.
You're correct. You're fantastic, Campbell. But Sophie's basically saying, like, even her quote unquote dream of like staying here and like helping her mother run the hotel is like, that's not necessarily what Sophie truly wants, but it's what she thinks she should do to support her mother. Which I will say, like, that is admirable of her, that she's theoretically willing to put her actual desires aside, or her actual, like, and sort of the desires of her husband, who wants to, like, leave and travel the world and not live here. But yeah, she's like willing to sort of like put that aside and put her priorities aside to support her mother and make sure that she's able to live the life that she wants, you know?
Yeah. And then they start talking about their relationship. We can get to the song SOS. And in this song, this is where I do wish, how should I put it? I wish their voices were more balanced.
Oh, agreed.
And this song is very... Oh, no, go on.
No, continue. I have a separate thought.
I think this song... It's also a separate thought, but I think this song is very much... like, they are saying, like, what happened to our love? Like, this is happening. This is what's going on. And they're both singing kind of, like, at each other. But neither of them are hearing what the other person's saying.
Agreed.
They aren't hearing each other.
I don't know if this is a hot take or not.
Ooh, a hot take. Hot take alert. Listeners. Bow, 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 bow. Hot take alert from Raven. Alexander Smith. Bow, 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 bow. Continue.
I don't think this is the song that should be here in the story.
Elaborate.
I think.
What, do you have a song that you would suggest? Oh, Raven, you can't.
It's one that's later in the movie.
Don't care.
I didn't.
Care.
Okay. I think emotionally and just from a character development standpoint, I actually think it would make more sense for The Winner Takes It All to be here. Because here, Donna is at a very rough spot with Sophie. Like, she just had this fight with Sophie. She's very emotional. She's still trying to figure out, one, what the fuck these men are doing here, still coping with that. She's still getting over the trauma, like the emotional trauma of the way her relationship with Sam ended. And like she was fully in love with him. Like, we very much get the sense in this movie that her sort of entanglements with Sam or with Bill and Harry were sort of just like, they were truly just flings. She was just having fun. She liked them and they're great guys, but like, they were never like the one or anything like that. You know what I mean? But Sam kind of was, and then he left her and she found out that he was engaged and all this other stuff. And I think at this moment in the story, when our characters are sort of at their most emotional and most volatile a little bit, and Donna is still trying to process all of this, and now Sam confronts her, and it's like, hey, your daughter is doing all this stuff to like try to help you and blah, 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 and you need to be supportive of her, and also, by the way, I still love you, and like, we should do this, and also, like, I think it would just... And
to Donna, it's just sense. Like, you're invading
Who the fuck are you?
He's like, you're invading... You, one, were with someone else while we were together, we were in love, left me... And now this is the life that I have because of that. Why the fuck are you here and telling me how to raise my daughter? Who gives you the right?
Exactly.
Who are you during this time to put how I should be raising my daughter who I've raised on my own? Like, what are you doing?
And to me, SOS is more a song about like SOS is more a song of like, it's more like a serendipity type of song of like, oh, we like love each other or we're meant to be together, but we haven't quite found the right time yet. But that's not what's happening in the story between them. Like, the story they had the right time, and Sam fucking ruined it.
The story between them, this right now, when he's just like, the audacity of him, it's like that one meme is like, call 911, but not for me. That's the SOS that's going on right now. And that he needs to watch his fucking days. Like, how? Like, what the fuck? He's like, I love you, but I'm gonna mansplain to you how you should have raised your daughter these past 20 years when I left you.
Yeah. For Woman, I didn't tell you I was already engaged to.
Yes.
Before.
And like, yes, he did come back. He broke it off, came back immediately, and saw her with another guy. That I don't care about. Because he left. Her personal life is none of your business. She can do whatever she wants.
Yeah. And I still don't know whether I think in theory I do respect him for seeing that she was with another guy and like leaving it alone. Mm-hmm. But I also don't respect him for all of the decisions he made prior to that one. Yeah. So
whatever. Moving past this song.
Yeah, moving on.
We see Tanya and Harry together. And Harry's just like, oh, question. What would the father of the bride typically do? And Tanya's like, I don't know. Pay? And he just like leaves the boat and just like storms off. And then Tanya flaunts what she got. She inspires women. She commands the room. The room being the entire beach. And we get into the song, Does Your Mother Know? Because Pepper cannot get enough of Tanya. They may have had a moment in the boudoir together the night of the Hen and Stag parties. And Tanya's just like, hey, something happened, but like,
you're
too young for me. This is not going to happen. Does your mother know?
Yeah.
Like, she's like, I can dance. I can flirt. And then I wrote down, Tanya, which she's saying, you're too young to me, and we're like led to believe I thought that she was performing oral sex, that everyone was just watching. I think Pepper was just so in his head that, like, as she, like, fully took his bathing suit off and, like, may have, like, touched certain parts, but I didn't think she blew him. Instead, it is revealed that she made him a diaper out of a towel to illustrate that he is a child, is what I thought happened.
Fair. Interesting. Okay. Well,
I thought it was a power play.
All I saw was she descended out of frame.
Yes.
Her hand was on his chest, and he started smiling, and I was like,
and okay. I think it was definitely intentional, but
yeah, it was definitely an intentional framing to be that. But like, I don't think that's legitimately what happened. But they for sure like were like, this is kind of what's happening, you know.
And then she like makes all the men swoon. Everyone's like laughing at Pepper and stuff. Icon. She's just an icon.
Christine Baranski is amazing.
And then she says the line, "Yo, girls, we done good," which I think we should. I think like Raven, you and I have talked about. We're definitely going to get matching tattoos. And we think it's going to be like sheet music for this one song that's really important to us. Like, I'll have the treble part, you'll have the bass part. Would you consider us tattooing "Yo girls, we done good" - Tanya, aka Christine Baranski, instead?
Absolutely.
That's the wrong answer. And this is going to be...
And the right one.
And the right one. No. That's an answer. So then we see Harry, like, soaking wet. And like goes up to Donna's like, hey, like you've like done so much for your daughter and like you've done it on your own. I just want to make a small contribution to the wedding because like, you know, like I've like got to know her, like she's important to me, you're important to me, obviously. Hands her a check, which she almost faints about. And she was like, I can't accept this. And he was like, you're going to have to catch me, and runs off, which I think is the funniest fucking thing.
I love that.
At this point, does Donna not think he's doing this because he thinks he's her father? Like, she doesn't question this.
No. I don't think...
It doesn't seem she really questions this. She's just like...
I think she...
Yeah,
No. I think she is very... at least aware of the potential that he could be Sophie's father and that he could know that.
Okay.
But I see it more as like, I see it almost more of like a pride thing of like, fuck you, I don't need your money.
No, I do get that. I wasn't sure if she was like, what your feelings about the other part was, if it was happening at the same time. Because it seemed to kind of, that was my thought, but that makes sense.
No, I honestly, okay, no, if we're being honest, though, I don't know if she's put that much thought into Bill and Harry, because I think a lot of her emotional energy right now is tied up with Sam. Is tied up with Sam. Like, she probably honestly hasn't thought that much about Bill and Harry.
Like her daughter, I don't think she considers other people that are interacting with her.
Well, I mean, Sophie has to learn it from someone.
So we see Sophie tell Skye, like, the deal, what's going on. And Sophie, he asked, he was like, Sophie, is this what the wedding is about?
Is this, yeah, because again, like, Skye didn't even want a wedding.
No,
not
and
properly.
He was not privy to any of this information, which is like,
nope.
Like, do you not, like, talk to your fiance? Like, that's... I don't know, it's just weird. And Sophie's just like, you don't get it. I just need to learn who I am as a person. And Skye says, that doesn't come from finding your father. That comes from finding yourself.
Which is very true. Like,
Skye, great. And they get into a fight where they like Sophie leaves and stuff and like runs into her mom. And she was like to Donna's like, hey, like, will you help me get ready? And then we get into...
Which is so, like, it's almost sad to me how happy and surprised Donna looks, because it's just like, yeah, this is a thing that you should be able to do with your daughter.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, they just had a fight, but it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah. And we get into the song Slipping Through My Fingers. Which is a great song.
Oh, which is such a sweet
also,
song.
there was another song where you saw, like, baby pictures of, it's like, oh, yeah, this was Sophie when she was younger. It was actually baby pictures of Amanda Seyfried.
Oh, that's so cute. I love when they do that. I love the sort of montage that we get of the two of them, well, mostly Sophie, but the two of them getting ready.
Could you imagine being, like, cuddling and painting nails and being that close to Meryl Streep?
Amazing.
It's just like, I don't know, it's just very like heartwarming, like seeing like this relationship through this montage.
Yeah, and I think this was definitely the scene where I think the first moment that I really felt like, yes, this is a mother and daughter and not Meryl Streep and Amanda Seyfried, was during Super Trooper. But like here, it just really reaffirms that, and it really gives you that vibe because like. Yeah. Just definitely. The way their chemistry in this scene, like amazing. As actors, is fantastic, and literally the way Sophie is like sitting on the armchair / her lap and like having her paint her toes. It's just like I literally like this entire scene. I was like, I can picture myself doing this with my mother in the future, like for my wedding, and it just like it really makes me. Because I was also watching this with my mom. Aww. Yeah, and so, like, I was just, like, I honestly was getting kind of emotional because I was just like, this is it. This is, like, this is the dream, you know? Yeah. For me, at least. For some women, not all women.
So, I had two main points of this song. One, the word I would describe this song would be fleeting.
Exactly, yes.
Two, perfect. At some point, I guess Sophie was shaving her legs, and she, like, you know, cut herself. And, like, her mom put a Band-Aid on it. She did not wipe off the dripping blood. It was like a
I didn't even notice.
It was like and I hate myself for like realizing that she like put a Band-Aid on like the the wound, but there was still like blood on her leg, and she didn't wipe it up. What kind of mother are you? And I couldn't get past it, but I did think at the very end it transitions to the music box playing the same melody, and I thought that was a really nice touch.
Yeah, that was really cute.
And then,
and I think this is this is potentially the song that fits the most with the story they've created. Because I think a lot of the other songs, there's either one line or just something
I
that's
disagree.
like, oh,
I think another song that fits very well is Voulez-Vous, because it elicits the raw debauchery of this story.
And just like a bachelorette / bachelor party. I agree with that. But I think in terms of like emotional delivery or emotional punch,
but then we learn that Donna is very open about like her mother, your grandmother. Yeah. When I came to her and was like, said I was pregnant, she said, "Don't bother coming back." Again, I never see this from Cher. So, what's going on here? What had happened was, and then at this point, which is really fucked up, she didn't say this before, literally like hours before her wedding, is like, "Will you be the one that gives me away?" And Donna's just like, wild. It's just like beautiful. And then they're like, walking to the wedding, which is like, it's so beautiful, so picturesque, where the church is, where like, they're leading up to it. Everyone's looking amazing. And Sam and Donna see each other. And we get to The Winner Takes It All, where Donna sings at her ex in the most beautiful light. Because a lot of the lighting in this isn't the best. There's a lot of backlight for like I get that you're like recording like certain times of day, and it's like very on location kind of like kind of like specific things, like it's on location dictating like what's going on. But sometimes I'm like, it's like you go into like Microsoft Paint and you just like outline, like you take the border of a person and you turn like the glow and the like you change the border to like a white color and you make the glow effect. I'm like, this is not real. But in this, it looks great. And like, I could only imagine like the pressure and the effort it takes in this very finite amount of time to achieve this kind of moment with, like, you know, the fucking weather and lighting and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very variable, and I really commend the actors in this to, like, you know, really putting their all, the winner takes it all, in this kind of setting.
I agree, and I think, like...
I think Meryl Streep was incredible in this scene. Which is, you know what? Hot take. I think Meryl Streep was incredible in this scene.
Yeah, this is a song that, like, it really... As someone, and I think most people have at this point, but, like, as someone who has definitely experienced unrequited love before, /
what?
Someone...
Who are they? I'll kill them.
Leaving you and having a different, you know...
Name, Raven. Raven, look at me. I'm furious. Name them. I will take care of the situation. Because how...
Well, it's been multiple people, but...
How very dare they? Raven, you're trying to move on, and I'm not. Because I am on the war path now.
Oh my gosh.
As your big brother, I am about to slit some throats. You know I'll get away with it. You know I'm smart enough. Just give me the names.
But yeah, so this song, I think it just really... Campbell's pouting now. It really... I don't know, I think, like, it just really, like, hits home. And, like, this song, like... And I think this is true, honestly, of a lot of ABBA's music, which is, like, obviously their music was relatable to a lot of people because they were so freaking popular. But this song just really, I think, captures what it feels like. In that sense of, like, yeah, like, she won. And, like, yeah, like, people aren't necessarily prizes to be won, but in a sense, that's what it feels like. You know what I mean? It feels like I lost everything when I lost you. And for you to come back here now and say, like, oh, I'm here now. Like, let's make it up. Like, let's, you know, get back together and all this other stuff. I still love you, or I never stopped loving you. And it's just like, okay, well then where were you 20 years ago? You know? Yeah, and I don't know, this scene just really, I think more than any other scene in the movie, just really makes you feel for Donna. Yeah. And just, like, truly understand what that
she doesn't give a fuck about Bill and Harry.
She does not give a fuck about them.
They were rebounds.
They're great guys.
They're rebounds.
Fantastic guys, but she does not give a fuck about them.
That's what this song says. That's the main takeaway from this song. And then I really like the line, I don't want to talk because it makes me feel sad. Yeah. Like, we both know the situation. It's like, no, let's talk this out. Let's make it work. Blah, 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 blah. It's just like, no, because I don't want to put myself into that kind of emotional space. And then, dramatically, we see the athlete that is Donna. Because she runs up all these fucking stairs.
Yeah, that was my thing. You see, so as she's, this is like a 3-minute song, right? The wedding procession is making its way up, like, the mountain.
She's late to the wedding. She was like, finally she's asked by her daughter, who only has one parent, is like, can you walk me down the aisle? She's like, yes, of course. And then she's late to the fucking wedding because she's telling, like, an ex. It's just like, hey, the sunlight's good. I look good in this light. You fucked up. And now we're here.
Yeah, and my mom, it's funny, as we were watching this, my mom was just sitting there like, doesn't she need to go to the wedding?
Yeah, doesn't she have somewhere to be?
like why is she just standing here singing?
It's like when she spends 20 minutes telling a guy, you're not important to me, I have other stuff going on, but she doesn't leave to go do the things she has going on. Yep. So then finally she makes it up the stairs to Mount Olympus. Is a Hercules reference.
And we see Sophie just sitting there outside the church,
just like, what the
fuck?
And I was like, this is the only time I think it's acceptable for you to like sash your mom from this movie. I was like, be mad.
just like mom, but the absolute fuck.
I will say, in this scene, the band that they have is the best. That tuba player
in the weddings, is
laying it on heavy and thick, and I love it.
Real quick, this is sort of going back to the song real quick. Do you think that song, whether they kept it as, because again, I feel like Winner Takes It All should have actually been where SOS was, regardless of whether the song here was Winner Takes It All or a different song.
I disagree.
Do you think this should have been a duet?
No, I don't, and I disagree because I feel like a lot of the perspective in this movie has been from the potential suitors and the formal loves and stuff. There hasn't really been a song that is Donna on her own. And I think Winner Takes It All leads itself to resolution. And I think SOS, if it was the time during SOS, it would have been like a too far of a gap that wouldn't make sense. Because I think the Winner Takes It All is very finite statement that's just like, I am ready to move on. And she's ready to move on because she's walking her daughter down the aisle. And then the villain of the movie is like, oh, you thought? Uno reverse card. This is what's going on.
See, interesting, because I think of it like, I agree that Winner Takes It All is more of a definitive sort of statement.
Yeah.
And it's sort of Donna getting
SOS is a question.
Winner Takes It All is Donna getting closure for herself. Like saying, you know what, I'm done. I'm over this. Why
didn't Sam say he was single at that point?
Honestly, but
this man is so dumb, especially except for dumb gay Harry.
The reason I think Winner Takes It All should have been sooner in the movie is because it's Donna getting her own sort of closure and processing those feelings that she's spent 20 years mulling over, apparently.
Do you think she spent the entire 20 years mulling over? Or
literally.
She was like living her life, and honestly, sometimes
I think she never fully, completely processed it.
Okay,
as in never truly got over it. You know what I mean?
She didn't have closure for anything.
Yes,
I agree.
Agreed.
Okay, yep.
And okay, I think it would have been. I purely think it would have been a better romantic story for that scene and that closure
for
to have
Sophie
come
not to marry her brother.
Agreed. But for that scene to have come earlier, and then for Sam to have to win her back. Because Sam is the one that fucked up in the first place. But in this case, it's like, SOS says like, hey, we still love each other, but we're mad at each other. And then Winner Takes It All says like, okay, I'm done. And then 5 minutes later, they're getting married. And I think it would have been better I think it would have been better if that, hey, I'm done, like I'm officially closing this door was earlier, and then Sam had to win her back. And that's why I think this scene, irrespective of what the actual song was, I think this scene should have been a duet, but not a duet in the sense like them singing together, more of like a counter melody of like her saying, I don't want this, I'm over melody. You. Don't you just love a counter melody? Amazing. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Let's continue to the wedding.
Okay, so the wedding starts, and that soprano sax is so good, and that tuba.
Amazing.
And then like Sophie is just like, says what's everything's that's going on, and like Don's like, you couldn't have. I don't even know who it is, and like Sophie's just like, I don't care if a mom's been with hundreds of men. Just like, stop shading your mom.
And she's like, I have not been with hundreds of men.
Like, we learned that Sam came right back, saw her with another man. Harry's just like, oh, no, I'm not part of the equation, I'm gay. Like, I could be her dad, but like, I'm not a love interest. I'm fine.
And Bill is like, I mean, I love her, but like, not like that.
Yeah, and they also say like, I'll take a third of Sophie, which will never be on board with.
Don't care for that.
And then Sophie is like, let's not get married yet. You don't want this. The first time she's like internalized what her fiance wants.
And actually
it's like, let's go see the world. And then we get into Around the World in 80 Days, the Tweety Sylvester. Have you seen the version that's like Tweety Bird and Sylvester?
I think so, but it's been years.
Same, and I don't know why that just came to my mind right now. I
don't know why anything comes to your mind ever, Campbell.
Let's not question that. And then Sam's like, hey, you told me fuck off, but why waste a good wedding? Am I right, fellas? And they're like, what? And then he was like, oh, by the way, I've gotten divorced. Like, I'm single. It's only the rest of your life, which is, I did like that line. I was like, ooh, that's solid, my guy, you know?
Yeah.
Did you like that? It's only the rest of your life. Isn't it so suave?
Yeah.
You disagree, but also...
I don't disagree. I just think I didn't like it as much as you did.
Then we get to the song, I do. So, I do 5 times. I do. Don't talk while you're macking on each other. It's uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah, that's weird. I don't like that. So I did not care.
We're going to move on. So they get married, as in Donna and Sam. And we get to When All Is Said and Done, which is basically like a wedding toast.
Do you think there are too many songs in this movie?
No, because I like ABBA's music.
I like ABBA's music, but I think...
But I also
there's
don't
like a song
take
like
this...
every 3 minutes.
I also don't take this movie seriously.
I mean, agreed, but I still think there's... I just think there's...
Like, the songs are the redeeming factor for me. So I'm just like, yeah, let's keep it going. Let's not talk about plot. Let's, like, hear this music. Do you think... This sucks for Bill, right? Because Harry's like, I'm gay and happy. Sam's like, I got the girl. And Bill's just like, I, like, brought these people here.
Actually, that's a fair point, because at first, I was kind of going...
I thought this was going to be my daughter, and, like, also at one point, we do see, like, a conflict within himself. He's like, I don't think I'm ready to have a daughter. But then he, like, you know, like, steals himself, and he's just like, no, I am here for you. I'm going to do this. And then he's, like, sharing with 2 other men, where he's just still alone, and then is, like, harassed sexually.
Oh, true. That's a good point, because at first I was thinking of your earlier point about, like, Bill's an adventurer and he's doing this as an adventure. But I agree that, like, I honestly think Bill feels like he's grown a little bit throughout this movie, and, like,
he's finally accepted responsibility in a different sense.
Yeah.
And, like, that realization is not rewarded.
Yeah, and during the hen party where, like, you see him, like, freaking out at the idea that she's his daughter, but, like, you do see that, like, he takes it seriously, and that's why he's freaking out. You know what I mean? Also, and then the next morning when they're talking about, like, he definitely is conflicted, but you see that, like, he is willing to, like, okay, like, you could be my daughter, and if that is the case, like, I want to take responsibility for that. I want to be here for you. Like, you seem like a lovely girl, and, like, I want to support you in whatever way I can. And yeah, he just kind of gets shafted at the end. I mean, although Sophie does say, like, all 3 of you can, like, be my dad, sort of.
Which is, like, weird and selfish, and I don't like it. But...
Well, this whole movie is selfish for Sophie.
Yeah, like, the winner takes it all, and the winner is Sophie. And it's very interesting. So then at the end, like...
That's true. Sophie gets everything she wants. And,
it's Ms. Hannigan and Annie. There's no consequences for anything.
The closest she comes to having consequences for her actions is when she and Skye fight about him being like, did you only want this wedding for your dad and not for us, and, like, to actually celebrate, like, our love and us getting together? And she was like, no, babe, I love you too. And he was like, okay. Yeah, exactly. That's the closest thing she had to consequences.
And then we see Rosie's, like, talking to Bill, and it's like, Bill's like, yeah, I'm a writer. I'm kind of a lone wolf, which, like, Rosie said before. And then we get into, like, one of my favorite parts of the movie. And Rosie's just like, well, you didn't get with the girl you loved. If you change your mind, take a chance on me. It's such a fun song to whisper.
That, and that's not the sequence of lines, and it doesn't even rhyme, and it bothers me.
What? If you change your
mind, I'm the first in line. Honey, I'm still free. Take a chance on me. But you keep saying, if you change your mind, take a chance on me.
Because I'm drinking, and it bothers me. And I already said it's my favorite ABBA song, so this is double embarrassing for me.
It's a good song.
It's a good song. It's my favorite ABBA song.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny because this is just incredible. And, like, what's wrong with these people? Because Rosie is just, stepping down, strutting down the tables, and people are like...
Walking down the table. People are eating.
People are like, this is okay, this is wanted. And this is warranted, and it's not. And stop dancing on this ground. Like, what the fuck? They're just, like, she's just, like, chasing this man, and it's very slapstick. It's, like, very comical how she's, like, almost falling or whatever, and they're just, like, dancing on this, like, crack that they never fixed. And I ever, like, when finally the water shoots off, I wrote down, the septic tank, which I thought was fun. And, like, I was like, oh, no, it's just, like, why the hotel was built here, why it's, like, such a, like, attractive, like, just attraction.
Minor detail.
This is, like, Aphrodite's spa, spring, whatever. The water, it's Aphrodite's. If you, like, you know, take in this water, you'll find your true love, blah, 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 blah. It's Aphrodite, not, like, a major structural problem that we need to address. And we get into a reprise of Mamma Mia. No one seems concerned about what's going on. And they're like, dance it out. And then we get to Sophie again. I do like how they wrap the movie and start the movie with I Have a Dream.
Real quick, though. Yeah. A thought that I had at this point at the end of the wedding. Where are Sky's parents?
Raven, I never had...
At no point do we even consider or interact with his entire side of the wedding. Sky. Other than, like, the lay all your love on me, where we see his bachelor. Also, like, we have no interaction with any... And, like, I understand that this is about Sophie and Donna, but, like...
It's... No. It's Sophie's choice.
It's about...
So we end with I Have a Dream... And, like, she feels real...
And they go on their, like, honeymoon, sort of.
Slash exploring the world. They're leaving. They're just leaving. They're leaving, yeah. They're, like, living their lives. And then, in the credits, we get Dancing Queen by Donna the Dynamos, which I think is a perfect end credits. Because they're just, like, like, the movie's over. I don't care how we feel about this movie or how we did or the plot or anything. It's like, you know what?
And they're actually, like, on a real stage.
We're going to have
with a spotlight
fucking fun. And we get through that. Yeah. The Dynamos having such a good time. They're like, goodbye. Oh, wait. Do you want to hear another one? And then we see, like, the Greek gods, like, kind of, like, in the clouds and stuff. And, like, two of the Greek gods are... Oh, that's something. And Dancing Queen originally... You remember the pianist on the boat?
The pianist on the... Oh, yes.
That was the pianist from ABBA.
Oh, that's cool.
And then on the... like, one of the Greek gods is also a member of ABBA. The piano player, Benny Anderson... And then the Greek god, Bjorn...
Bjorn Ulvaeus?
Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't read my handwriting. Thank you so much. Is like one of the Greek gods, like, looking down and stuff. And then we get also, it's like, oh, do you want another one? And we get into the song Waterloo. And, like, the main cast join. And they all have, like, similar kind of, like, disco wear. And just having the best time of their lives. They sing Waterloo. It's a really fun song. And at the very end, it's like scene. And they, like, walk off. And they're just all, like, so jovial with one another. And it's just like, I don't know what this is, but, like, I'm having a good time doing it. And that's how the movie ends. And I love that for them.
I love that for them, too.
So that's all of my notes. So, Raven, what you got for me? If you change your mind.
Okay, yes. So, we've already talked about this quite a bit, but the music in this musical was all written by ABBA, which is a Swedish pop group that was formed in Stockholm in 1972. And I'm going to try to pronounce all of these individuals' names as authentically as possible. I obviously do not speak Swedish, but I will try my best.
But you're learning Dutch.
That is a very different language. So the group individuals are Agneta Feldskog, Bjorn Ulvaeus, Benny Andersson, and Annie Frid Lyngstad, who apparently is a princess, which I did not realize until I was researching for this episode. So it turns out that the group's name is actually an acronym of the first letters of all of their first names, intentionally arranged as a palindrome, which is super cool. And apparently, the group was like two married couples. So it was Feldskog and Ulvaeus, I believe, and then Andersson and Lyngstad were the two married couples. Unfortunately, with like the popularity that their group reached, it was really difficult was a lot of strain on their marriages, and so both of the marriages ended up ending, which is when the group separated in 1982. But they were Sweden's first Eurovision winner in 1974, so especially for American listeners, Eurovision, for anyone who doesn't know, is an annual song contest that Europe does. I say Europe, but like I think Australia participates in it, like Canada, like other non-European countries participate in it, but it started as a European song contest.
Raven, do you consider great talented artists do you consider the winners of Eurovision to be great talented artists?
I mean, okay, one, take my opinion with a grain of salt because I'm relatively unfamiliar with Eurovision, and I've only even watched the contest like maybe twice, or seen songs from the contest like twice. But I think as a general rule, they are talented artists. I think there's also, assumedly, some like politics and stuff like that also go into like the making of the song and all of that stuff. But in general, from the performances that I've seen, like there's some really, really fantastic performances that happen in this song contest.
Then why the fuck do you clown me for liking Dance Monkey by Tones and I, the Eurovision winners?
Campbell.
I set your ass up.
I
set your ass up. Also, Måneskin, the Italian band, they also have a song called Mamma Mia, which is a really fun song to mosh in bed with your lover in the morning.
Is that a euphemism?
No, it's not. I'm just whimsical in my life.
I'm just saying, you said the words mosh in bed, and I just... Anyway.
You know how I pot a beret while we're in bed together, Raven? I said Raven. Raven? Kickball change, pot a beret. And I just are just kicking you while we sleep in the same bed together. That's the vibe I'm saying with moshing to Mamma Mia in bed.
Wild. So they were Sweden's first Eurovision winner in 1974 with the song Waterloo. And
Waterloo's such a good song.
Apparently, it was named the best song in the competition's history in 2005. So only a couple years before this movie came out.
And they were a band since when?
1972. And they sent it in 1974. So for 30 years, they were the best song in the competition's history. They have been considered one of the best-selling music acts in the history of popular music, and fully topped the charts worldwide from 1974 to 1983, which is why we're not going to be spending a ton of time talking about them, because at this point, like, you just know ABBA. People just know ABBA. I knew them before I'd actually really even heard of them. Like, you know their songs. You know Dancing Queen, you know Take a Chance on Me, you know these songs. So the two individuals in the group that specifically worked on Mamma Mia were Benny Andersson and Bjorn Ulvaeus. So Benny Andersson is a Swedish singer, musician, composer, and producer. And Ulvaeus is a singer-songwriter and producer. Both of them co-produced the Mamma Mia film. So the interesting thing about Benny Andersson, his wiki career section is literally organized into before ABBA, during ABBA, and after ABBA.
I mean, when you're a part of ABBA, how else is it going to be organized?
How else does your life work out? But he actually has his own band that he's been working on since 2001 called Benny Andersson's Orchestra, which I believe orchestra, it's just the Swedish word for orchestra. But Lazy. Yeah, so he's the musical leader and composer, and it was formed like mid 2001. And yeah, like both of them, like after the band broke up, Benny Andersson and Bjorn Ovea started like working together and like developing like songs and compositions together. And Agneta Feldskog and Anni-Frid Lyngstad went on to have like solo careers. So yeah, like Benny Andersson and Bjorn Ovea like had a hand in the development of the play as well in 1999, and they were approached to produce the film in 2008, which had like a really, really good reception when it was first released. So in the UK, it grossed over £69 million, and in Greece, it grossed £1.6 million, which ranked number 1 at the Greek box office. And in the UK, it's the 13th highest grossing film of all time. Like, still currently is the 13th highest grossing film of all time in the UK. And it opened at number 1. So it is a wildly popular movie. Like, even in the US, it grossed at 144 million, and 467 million, like other territories worldwide. So yeah, highest grossing live action musical of all time, which honestly, when you look at like Disney's live actions, it doesn't have a lot of competition, but it was very, very well received. Although critics didn't love it, which like I think is in line with our response. So like on Rotten Tomatoes, it only got like a 55% approval rating, and an average rating of like 5.6 out of 10, which like I think makes sense. It's a movie that's entertaining, and that's about it. But it did win a few awards. So it won an Empire Award for Best Soundtrack, Golden Raspberry Award, Golden Reel Award, also for like sound editing. It won. This is a similar. Do you remember back in Annie, where I talked about how the actress that played Annie won? I forget the actual name of the award, but it was something like worst like leading actress,
which was like not deserved.
Which was weird. But Pierce Brosnan won a Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Supporting Actor. Which, like, again, it, like, doesn't... It's so weird to me that these are even a thing that exists. But yeah, it won, like, it won, like, an Irish Film and Television Award, a couple National Movie Awards, MTV Awards, People's Choice Awards, and Rembrandt Awards. So it was very popular amongst, like, the populace, not so much amongst critics, because, like, let's be honest, the story structure, the character development... It sucks. It's bad. It's a bad film. It's great for entertainment. Yeah. But the question that I want us to consider, Campbell, and we've already started talking about this a little bit, what are your thoughts on... I want to gauge our thoughts on jukebox musicals overall, and I want to talk about, like, can they work? Like, can they be real musicals? And if so, how? I think, like, what do they need?
I think jukebox musicals are interesting because they, like, take... a lot of times they don't take from the same piece of work or same, like, inspiration or, like, band or whatever. But I think something that's just disappointing is that what I love about music, people can take different messages away from a song than other people. I feel like music in general is very personal. I think you can apply things to a whole bunch of settings. It can be very ambiguous. It'd be like, oh, artist, what did you mean by this song? It's like, oh, it's love for interpretation, blah blah blah, like we're in an AP Lit class. And I think specifically for Mamma Mia, I think ABBA has such a rich and deep discography that you could apply like songs to different situations and make that work around and be like, oh yeah, there's like a multitude of feelings someone may have about this song given the context. I think jukebox musicals fail at the context. than they pull the songs from. I think I do think, like, in theory, I think they can be done very well, because I think it, like, plays on, you know, taking different messages from songs. But I think a lot of the times they, like, say the song is like, no, there's only one definition for this song. That's what we're putting here. And then when you hear it, it's like, oh, I have a different definition for that song.
Yeah.
It seems like very much like, you know, the higher ups or, like, you know, the people writing and stuff. It's like, oh, everyone agrees this is what the song's about, but not everyone agrees with them.
I agree with that, and I think the downfall of a lot of jukebox musicals for me hold a little bit of a special place. Like the concept of a jukebox musical holds a special place in my heart, because I think jukebox musicals are actually a fantastic opportunity to utilize music that is already in the popular consciousness and already, like, people already identify with and already connect with. Like, people already say that they like this music. You don't have to worry about them liking the song. It is a way of telling a story through a sphere of influence that people already understand. And I think a lot of people, like, I think the beauty of a jukebox musical could be that a lot of people see or might see pop music as the soundtrack for their life. So I think, to me, the perfect jukebox musical would be one that, like, allows the music to tell the character's story, literally.
Yeah.
And I think, I agree that, like, yeah, there are so many different meanings and messages you can take from pop music. So I think the duty of the jukebox musical... Shut up. I think the duty of the jukebox musical is to say, like, this is the interpretation we're using, but to be clear about how and why. Like, I think jukebox musicals are at their best when they truly do a cover of the song. Like, it is different instrumentation. The instrumentation is specific to the musical, and there is intent and reasoning behind the instrumentation used, or at the very least the placement and the selection of the songs. Like, I think in Mamma Mia, what bothers me is that they kind of just picked songs that generally fit the vein of what the scene was about, and I think that doesn't quite work, because you do have to consider the lyrics of the song you are pulling from and the story that it's actually telling. And when you're trying to make a song fit into a scene that, like, doesn't fit it, it feels weird. And I think
it's jarring.
I honestly think one of the best. I think one of the best jukebox musicals of our time, bear with me, and I feel like you might actually agree with this, is Shrek.
Okay.
Because Shrek legitimately uses the pop music to say what is happening in the movie.
Are you saying the original Shrek movie?
Yes.
And
or Shrek 2, but, like, Shrek 2 is amazing.
I mean, I would agree that the soundtrack can contemporize those feelings to the soundtrack to contemporize the feelings, but, like, it's not a jukebox musical, so I don't think that can be compared.
I disagree, but
you think Shrek the movie's a musical?
I think it comes as close to being a musical as DreamWorks will ever really make.
So,
I think it's a musical in the sense that the function of the music in the story is to help tell the story. The music serves a purpose. It is to tell you what the, like, effectively vibe or theme of the individual scene is, what the characters are thinking, and what their motivations are. The music is not being sung or performed by the characters, but it is very much cluing you into what is happening in the story.
Then isn't that so disappointing that not a musical
is the best jukebox musical?
Is the best jukebox musical, or, like, able to connect music to a, like, film, a piece of work, compared to an actual musical where the two cannot be separated? Isn't that disappointing?
That is disappointing, and that's why, like, I say that jukebox musicals get a bad rap, because they are just done poorly because I think so often people think like this is popular music, you can just throw in these songs and like everyone will love it. And to an extent, yeah, that's true. Like ABBA makes great fucking music. Regardless of how you place their songs or what setting you put them in, they're going to be bops because they are. But like that doesn't mean that you are telling a story well using the music. And so I think like it is definitely possible to have a good jukebox musical, but just I feel like very few people put in the true effort required to make it so. And Singing in the Rain is technically a jukebox musical, and I honestly don't even know if that counts because like it's so long ago that like most people wouldn't even think of it as a jukebox musical because most people wouldn't know the songs already that the music is from, you know what I mean? So it feels like a regular musical. Yeah. But I think that's the hallmark of a good jukebox musical. It's like if someone in the future or someone not knowing that music independently could watch it and be like,
these songs make sense for the musical. Yeah.
Exactly. That is the hallmark of a good jukebox musical. Because at the end of the day, the music should be telling the story. If you're just putting the music in to like for the audience to relate to, Trolls, then it's a bad jukebox musical. It's a bad musical in general.
I've never seen Trolls.
Trolls is bad. It's bad.
So now at this point, we will be playing a piece from the musical for each other because copyright and that dumb shit.
Yup.
And Raven will be playing the cello, and I'll be playing the clarinet. And for Erin and Erin alone, we'll be playing Mamma Mia. So be right back.
Hey everyone, in addition to our other nonprofit partners, I would like to do a quick plug for the Daddario Foundation. The Daddario Foundation is a nonprofit grant-making organization that provides monetary and product support to high-quality music instruction programs on the front line to improve access to music education. And every single cent raised goes directly to getting kids involved in community music programs, acquiring and maintaining instruments, providing college scholarships, and supporting new innovations in music education across 41 U.S. states and 189 cities. They accept monetary donations, of course, but also instruments. So if you have an old instrument that you no longer use, please consider donating it to the Daddario Foundation, where they can get it into the hands of a student in need. However you're able to contribute, you can go to daddariofoundation.org/about/donate. That is Daddario Foundation, DADDARIO, foundation.org/about/donate. Now please enjoy the sultry sounds of me and Campbell destroying music.
That was pretty solid.
I thought that was pretty good. We were, I got a little off from you.
I got a little off from you.
Yeah, around like the middle there. But we got back together because we've ended together, which I think this is one of the first times I've ever listened to you enough to be able to adjust myself to match you.
And it went better than normal.
It's not saying much because I'm literally just playing eighth notes. But like I'm doing really well.
I think so too. I messed up a lot of stuff.
Also, you are too.
But like it's fine.
But like the melody was still very discernible. Like I knew exactly
discernible is what I'm going for, baby. So I think we should start at the DSL coda.
The DSL coda.
Measure 54.
Oh, yes.
54 to the end.
54 to the end. Cool. I'm down for that. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was
trying to burp while I was playing, and it was bad.
Campbell, you play a breath-controlled instrument.
Yeah, and that's why I need to stop, Raven. And also, I didn't look at any of these other notes. Is that an E?
I don't know your notes. Oh, you're in Treble Clef. Yeah, that's
an E. Okay, I'm good. Okay, I'm good. I won't take another sip. I'm good.
Okay, wait. Give me.
No.
Give me a second.
No.
Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Beautiful.
The good thing about this music, it's that it's easy.
It's very easy. And this is definitely, I would love for us to play this again. Like, this could definitely be one of our, like, go-to drunk hangout songs.
Oh.
You know?
100%. And that's what we 100%. Strive for this, except for the Wacko's Wish song, which I was just like, let's challenge each other like a fucking ding.
Why do you do that? That was never the point
because I'm not smart. Anyway, Raven, question for you. Who do you think is Sophie's dad?
Okay, so I actually was preparing for this question, and I heard that there's a spoiler, or, like, I heard that the second movie answers this. I don't know, I found an article that was talking about it, but it had spoilers for the second movie, so I couldn't read it. But it said that apparently Bill is her father. Which I actually would really like, because, I don't know, something feels too perfect about it being Sam. You know what I mean? And it could be Harry, but, like, I don't know. Harry's got his own stuff going on, and he loves her, like, wants to support her and stuff, but, like, let him live his life. But, like, I feel like Bill kind of needs this. And I feel like Bill would, like, low-key, once he gets over the shock and, like, panic of it, I feel like he could kind of be, like, a pretty good dad. Who do you think is her father?
I don't think it's Sam.
I agree.
I think I would like it to be Harry, but I would believe it to be Bill.
Fair, yeah. Bill seems the least responsible out of the three of them. Which, like, I feel like we could have solved this entire mystery, or potentially avoided this entire mystery, if, like, condoms were used.
They're only so much effective. They could have used condoms. Raven.
That's true. They can break, and that they're only 99.9% effective. But I just
know. Yep. You're just a proponent of safe sex.
Yeah. So Campbell.
Yeah.
How would you rate this musical?
A solid 6, baby.
I would go a 5, which I think is the first time I've ever rated a musical lower than you.
We say things like that all the time, and I don't believe that's true.
This is at the very least one of very few.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that, baby. Yeah. Since you asked me that, Raven, where would you find us?
You can find us anywhere podcasts are found. That includes larger apps like or music apps like Spotify and stuff, and iHeartRadio and Pandora. You can also find us obviously on the podcast apps like Stitcher, like Google Podcasts, like Apple Podcasts. Anywhere that you prefer to listen to podcasts, we are on that platform. And if you find us and you obviously you found us because you're listening to this, but if you like share this with other friends and stuff like that, we hope that you encourage them to like us and rate us and comment if they have questions or they have a musical they would like to suggest, or just like any ideas or thoughts or responses to our episode. We would really love to like hear back from our listeners. That'd be really awesome. If you do have the ability to rate us, which I believe Spotify just introduced, and like other platforms like Apple Podcasts already have in place, if you feel comfortable rating us 5 stars, that would be fantastic. If we do get a good rating, then the higher our rating, the more likely that we will be promoted to other listeners and other people that maybe have not been exposed to the podcast. And the more people that we bring into the fold, the more people that we can join the cult, drink the Kool-Aid, the more people that we can promote music education and the importance of music education, especially in young children's lives. And that's just really what we're all about here. We're all about drinking and, promoting stuff for the kids.
Drinking,
because those two things
jamming,
go together.
Promoting.
Facts.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Bumblebee lady. I love you. Bye-bye.